World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia e adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. About 1 week ago, at around this very time, everyone was saying their hellos, how you doings, everything's all nice and dandy, and we're here to have a good time and a good championship. Move that 1 week later, though, and we move to a track which is a lot more open, a lot more expansive, a lot more able to see overtaking and very fast and furious action. This suddenly doesn't become a, hello, how are you doing? This becomes, okay, time to get into the meat and gravy of everything of this championship. It is a fantastic championship for those who are joining us for the very first time on World Pro Racing and all the affiliates alongside with that on YouTube, on Facebook Live and on Twitch, as well as being streamed on the ESR 24/7 Esports Network at a later time, as well as ESPN. You are watching the Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020, presented by Fiverr, hashtag making it work in association with GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster, created mod-wise by ASR Formula. This is Silverstone. It needs no introduction. It has been on calendars for pretty much as long as time itself has gone along for racing and for sim racing, as drivers come out for official practice here in your amateur category division. 2 divisions of category here today, 2 races and a big crash in pit lane already, as one driver has completely run into the back of another, and I didn't quite catch who that was, but we are here with 10 minutes of practice before we get ourselves over to qualifying action. And of course, this amateur category championship fighting for very, very important matters, and those are the prizes which are presented by Thrustmaster and as well GT Omega Racing. But the opening round of the championship 1 week ago at Adria International Raceway set the tone for how strong of a battle all of these drivers are going to be looking for here today, and it was Philip Kraus who managed to put himself on a walkaway drive to get himself the race victory overall by a comfortable margin over Tom Sadlerley in second and Pierre-Andre Previdi, who managed to pick up 3rd position overall. Still, though, there are questions about the favourite Stoyan Barbakov in this field, whose mistake cost him what was 2nd position down to 4th in the final corner 1 week ago. But for the 20 minutes that these drivers have underneath them for racing action here today. They know that mistakes are going to be very, very much punished around a track where you can go all the way to the edges and back again. It's almost like exploring a vast, unexplored world sometimes when you run off here at Silverstone. And of course, this track is very, very quick and is all about being in range. And range is going to be key today because of the fact that this track is so quick. Around every single section, you've got that fabled hanger straight in the final sector, which is going to be key for seeing overtaking done, especially into the Vale and Club corners down at end of the lap as well. Then you've got, of course, the opening sector, which becomes so very, very vital to Silverstone's legacy over the last 10 years or so. You've got the likes of this very, very ferocious turn 1 into 2, dives into turn 3, could be a common occurrence here into the run through Village and over towards the likes of the Wellington Straight, which makes the big, big overtaking opportunity at Brooklands and at Luffield Corner, which is something just to keep in mind. But it's all about positioning. Early stages of the championship, round 2 of 6 consecutive weeks run back to back to back to back to back to back as they go on through, and there is no real time for the hype train to slow down and stop. They know very quickly after racing here they are going to be flying off, jetting off over to Italy once more for the third round of the championship, that one being at Imola. That follows Zandvoort with the Circuit d'Azur, and then finishing off at the Nürburgring for what is a very, very interesting battle that we are going to be having today. For those, though, who are keeping an eagle eye on proceedings here today, keep an eye out for certain drivers who are going to be out there and racing. They're going to be having live camera feeds in terms of what they are capable of doing, giving you a driver's eye portal into racing and how exactly they are looking and concentrating throughout the racing proceedings that are going to be going on today through both races out here on track. But track temp, ambient temp, both 29 degrees, both going to be pretty hot in terms of conditions, and these drivers have been looking a little bit squirrely through certain corners out on track, looking to try and pilot the Griiip G1 vehicles, which have been absolutely twitchy through pretty much every which way. Drivers have been looking. Tom Sadlerley, currently the quickest man out on track after the practice times at this moment, as drivers getting their first laps in a 1:49.6 then. The benchmark set at this moment in time. Sam Carpenter just moving up to second position in the practice times, but these drivers know that these are pretty much go-karts at the next level. They are very, very twitchy, very fidgety, and it's so easy on braking to lose the rear end in these vehicles. You very much have to drive these cars like a kart, try and get them around the track as quickly as possible. And for some drivers that does work, for other drivers that very much does not around this place, as the likes of Saverly, for example, heads himself past the old start-finish pits, the endurance start-finish pits, some will say, as he heads to Copse Corner, which used to be a very ferocious turn number 1 before the changes to the track meant that the pit lane moved all the way to the other end of the circuit, thus changing the legacy of this track for a very, very long time. But Silverstone always puts on a spectacle. It is a track which promotes this style of racing. It's one of the few tracks which you can say works with pretty much any car you put it on the track with. It struggles to find a bad race. But all these drivers need to know and understand is that qualifying will be coming up. Their race is going to be very entertaining to deal with, but they know that qualifying positions are going to be key. 21 drivers here today in this amateur category division, looking to try and put their times together on the board and making sure that they get the best qualifyings possible out there after this practice that is going on. And I think a few of these drivers know what they need to do. Out there on track, though, who is needing to find some times, who is having a good practice time at the moment, Sheldon Scott Muscat, currently third position overall on a 1:50.7. A lot of drivers, I think, just keeping their hands close to their chest, so to speak, and keeping their cards hidden with the fact that they aren't going as quick as possible, as Pierre-Andre Pravidi moves up into third position, as likes of Philip Kraus up to fifth, Luka Furlic up into 7th position. Sheldon Scott Muscat, a driver who needs a result after the opening round of racing, after getting caught out on the opening lap in the middle of the pack just a week ago. It's very much a case of starting on the back foot, and championship points do become vital. It's 35 points here in this series for a race win, 30 points for second, and it's 5 points down all the way to 6th place, where you get 10 points for that 6th place finish. But from there, it's only 1 point drops after that. So Liam Rance is only a point behind Nathan Mistard, Luka Furlich in 8th position in the amateur category championship at the moment, meaning that only the top 15 drivers here today are going to be eligible for scoring points. And that's going to be something else to keep in mind. A poor qualifying, a poor race result, and very quickly your championship can fall apart to the tune of 35 points. And if 35 points are getting taken out of your bank balance, so to speak, that is never going to be a good sign for a driver who is fighting up at the very, very pointy end of these sorts of championships. So we'll see how this goes. The form, you could some say argue, hasn't yet been set, with only 2 of 6 rounds going to be completed after the end of proceedings here today, but it's going to be all about who can put themselves in the position now to start really moving on forward, really cementing themselves as the yardstick to try and beat before they head over to Imola in 1 week's time. So Savali Carpenter, and in fact Pravidi actually jumps over Sam Carpenter onto a 1:49.9, so started to test the limits of this circuit, and on the brakes into turn number 3. Once again, a lot of locking up though in these vehicles, and it was quite interesting to hear Jerne Simoncic's comments. We will see him in the racing in one race after this, that one being the pro event, and it's all about tyre saving. Not so much over 20 minutes, say to 30 minutes in terms of racing, but that tyre saving. Keep in mind that it's going to be very, very entertaining to see who is going to push their tyres maybe a little bit harder than someone else over the course of this race, and maybe right at the end, the last lap, maybe the last 2 laps, they could fall foul of having tyres that do not work for them around this place. This is a track which has many mid to high speed corners. It now really does work hard on these sorts of tyres. Not so many big braking zones like hairpins where you're going to lock up everything all of the time, because most of the hairpins around this track are very open profile corners. They are going to be corners which very much you can run too wide, and you're not really hitting the tight corners, say like a Hockenheim hairpin. You're not really seeing corners, for example, like the former Lowe's hairpin. Corners like Brooklands, Luffield, maybe even down, say, at the Vale corner. Those are corners where you're going down to 2nd gear, and you're not necessarily going to be finding yourself in a place where the tyres are going to get that much work. As Philip Kraus has a spin coming through Beckett's corner, heading towards Chapel, and he will pull it off to one side of the road because there's about 30 seconds remaining here in practice, and after that will mean that we'll be taking you over to 10 minutes of open qualifying, where the fastest times will be set, and the driver who has the best open opportunity to go out there and try and pick up a victory will go and try and do so in the next few moments. Few drivers trying to find improvements late in practice. Alessandro Verni stays in 8th position on a 1:51 flat for the time being. Sam Carpenter making his way around the, I believe that is Chapel corner, and onto the Hanger Straight. Time has expired, and in the next few moments we will be heading ourselves over to qualifying, which is going to be so very, very vital, I think, for a lot of drivers who knows that when you've only got 20 minutes to go and race, you don't have long to get the positions that you hope to. As Liam Rance, right at the death, jumps up into 6th position with his time, and will be incredibly happy with that one. 1.2 seconds only off of the pace at the moment. So moving across now, we will start to look at qualifying here, ladies and gentlemen, and the mad dash already starts for drivers to get down to the end of pit lane, to get through. Luka Furlich, I think, just over the line, and we'll have to reverse that one to get himself back on the right side, and that might just be something he's got to be careful of here as drivers start to just a little bit gaggle up here as they think about when the green flag drops, and it does. There's the light at the end of the pits. Let's get going, everyone. Try and work out where's your best place and get yourself out and going. So, like say, Sheldon Scott Muscat, third in line. Philip Kraus, second in line for everybody going on. There's Christian Pintz in 8th position, classified at the moment after no laps have been scored and done so far in qualifying right now. And this is going to be very, very interesting because of the fact there are a lot of high-speed sections. It's not necessarily the best thing in the world to have draft. Yes, it is down the Wellington Straight. Yes, it is when you head over towards Copse Corner. Yes, it is when you're on the Hangar Straight. But you've got some very, very high-speed corners. The Maggots-Beckett section, you do not want to be behind another vehicle through that bit because of not necessarily a massive effect, but there is still those hinges, those fringes of dirty air, that turbulence that comes across in a lot of open Formula vehicles, and of course all the vortices that come over the vehicles that need to have a punch through the air. One vehicle's actually just had a big moment, I believe, and has lost a rear wing somewhere, I do believe, unless I've seen something a little bit wrong. Haven't quite caught who that was, but at the moment all 21 drivers then out on track, from Tom Staveley all the way down to Andrea Dalla Valle in position 21 scored at the moment. So drivers looking to get themselves ready, looking to sort out, okay, where's first laps? The likes of Savelli and Carpenter have already pulled over and said, well, I'm not quite happy with my track position. Time to start again. And you don't have long when you've got 10 minutes, especially when you've got a 1 minute 50 out lap around this place. Looking to try and make sure that you get yourself enough position as possible. But let's go on board with Sheldon Scott Muscat for a lap around this GT layout of the Silverstone circuit here, on towards turn number 1. This is a very ferocious quick corner which is taken at flat out, if not almost flat out, through the right of 1, no worries, left of 2 comes along, very much a passing through corner, then you hit the brakes for 3, little bit of a squirrel there through that section, in towards turn number 4, really wrangling at the wheel to go through that section, and wide and off the track go Sheldon Scott Muscat, and that will be a lap time pretty surely. That will be invalidated by that one. So let's look a little bit further front to Philip Kraus, who's moving into Brooklands and Luffield corner. Brooklands, a third gear corner into a second gear right then of this Luffield section. All about trying to put the power down as early as possible, and drivers can very easily fall foul and run wide at a corner which does not have any camber to it, which is surprising for a corner of that sort of distance. You normally see a little bit of something there. Into Copse now comes the next run, and this is all about being aggressive through Copse corner. This whole sector is thrilling, and in any car you know this is a challenge. Maggots the right, Beckett the left, and then Chapel the right once again. Looking to try and open up Chapel as much as possible, use those curves, and then onto the Hangar Straight, which will be one of the key places today for overtakes that we will see in towards Stowe Corner on the brakes here. The only British track that will be run here in this season will be Silverstone, and then look to put the power down, moving a little bit to the right and on the brakes into this, the Vale Corner, and then Club, this long left-hander double apex, looking as it very much tightens in the second apex. You look to make that push for the line. It's a long run to that line as well, and Kraus sets the pace on a 150.1. Andrea Dalla Valle 6/10 off the pace. Barbakov almost half a second back at the moment, classified in second at the moment. Raffaello Morga, who had an upside-down moment in the opening race of the season, he finds himself now up into 4th. Alan Smith now into 5th. Edan Kaufman moving into 6th place overall. But we'll see who makes progress. Pierre-Andre Previdi does, but is 1.5 seconds off here on a 151.6 there for the opening times. Raimo Okus, though, up into 2nd position. That's a 150.3, and Sam Carpenter jumps in the middle into 2nd on a 150.171. 300ths just behind in terms of pole position times at the moment. Liam Rance has jumped up to 4th place, just 0.4 of a second off of what is needed at the moment. And as things stands, there is a 7.5 second difference between drivers first to last in terms of times at the moment, with 1/3 of the field yet to set something concrete at this moment. And those drivers include the likes of Tom Savali, Christian Pintz is in there, Nathan Misser, Juran Kuzmierczyk is another driver, and Kirstner Beha, another driver who could be in a bit of trouble at the moment, with half distance in qualifying already scored complete. You're only going to be getting maybe 4 laps here in qualifying, and once drivers have started those laps, they are, of course, allowed to finish it. Felipe Caneo up into 8th place, Alessandro Verni to 7th at this moment in time on a 150.908. Here comes Barbakov, though, looking for a second consecutive lap. You're not going to get a million laps on these tyres. They will start falling away, part of everything that's going on. Sheldon Scott Muscat to the top, though, on a 150-point flat. Barbakov up into 4th place. So Sheldon Scott Muscat finds the top of the timing stands here, and that is key. This track is going to get quicker and quicker the longer that qualifying goes on, as the likes of Tarek Njumi makes it car 22 in this field. Here's Raimo Okus, though, looking to try and find a bit of time. Philip Kraus is also trying to, but Pierre-Andre Previdi goes provisional pole, or Previdi pole, some would say. A 149.7, first man into the 49s. Okus goes second on a 49.9, so he's 2/10 off of what is needed at this moment. So keep an eye on that. Times are going to be key. Kraus currently stays in 4th position at the moment. Carpenter is 5th. Thurlich stays in 8th position right now in terms of the qualifying times. Drivers looking to get their final stints ready, and it's going to be about who is last over the line as well to get themselves best placed for the run that they've got. They've got 3 minutes and 15 seconds now on the clock. That's not long at all in terms of the way that things are going to be running for them, but 3 minutes is an outlap and then 1 flyer. So drivers who have come in, taken tyres, looking to get themselves back out, this is one-shot qualifying now, essentially. They've got to put their best lap on the table. The bankers have all been done. The likes of Savali has yet to put a lap time in. Nathan Missard currently having a huge moment, actually, heading through Beckett's corner. That's not optimal, going sideways. The Tokyo route, some would say, going through there. And there's the vehicle behind, not having the best of life either. That's Sheldon Scott Muscat, who was pole, down into 3rd position now from that time. So a lot of work to do for some drivers, as this is a very mixed up field compared to what we were expecting here. If the first round was any form to go by, this means that a lot can happen and a lot can change around an old airfield circuit, which is all about top speed, average speed. This is going to be a tall challenge for drivers as they look to try and improve on their times, on their positions. The likes, say, of Stoyan Barbakov goes on to start a flying lap with 2 minutes to go. He'll have 2 attempts from where he is. Someone like Andrea Dalla Valle, for example, behind in 7th, will have only 1 attempt to get the lap that is required. So drivers searching for track position, a little bit of space to get those laps in, to get them working, and we'll see who will come over the line in the best possible position out on track. 2 drivers are in the pits right now. That's Kuzmierczyk and Kaufman. They will not improve on theirs, and Furlich diving down onto the lane will not improve either on positions there. Furlich will go no higher than 8 here in qualifying. So drivers out on lap. Okus, Muscat now. Kraus out there looking for a lap very soon. You've got Previdi right now in a little bit of space here with a 49.7 and a bit of draft in front is going to be crucial in terms of those times. So we'll see who can find the improvements that are needed. We'll see who can put themselves right up at the pointy end. At this moment in time, it's all about finding a draft partner. It's all about finding what you need. Sam Carpenter, for example, on his own, 50 seconds remaining in qualifying, heads through turn number 1. Expect those times to be flying in incredibly quickly, because you've got the likes of Sheldon Scott Muscat now heading down towards the final sector. This is the lowest point in the circuit here, down at Stowe Corner. That's surprising to say, actually, for a track like this, but you don't really see much elevation change around this place. You can see drops down the hill and will head back up the rise on the brakes in towards the Vale corner. Little lock up though, heading through that section, looking to use all of the road here. We'll get one more attempt after this, so don't count this as the final opportunity. Carpenter will not improve on position. Sadly, we'll have to start from the back of the field. Sheldon Scott Muscat stays in third, but has one more attempt. 3 seconds remain on the clock. 2, 1, timer has expired on every driver. So now, who's going to put themselves in position? Okus making a run. Pravidi now making a charge over towards the line. So we'll see what Pravidi can do here out on the track. Making a way through the final corner. Needs to improve. Give a bit more of a buffer. Currently the gap nearly 0.2 of a second. Long drag to the line. And across the line is no change for Pravidi. So that's going to be crucial. Drivers looking to improve. Here's Raimo Okus in second place. Over the line goes Okus. And there is no improvement from Raimo Okus. There is from Christian Pintz, though, up into 6th place. That was a crucial lap. Big wiggle from Kraus. Heckett's corner. That's going to compromise the lap ever so slightly. Got Muscat out there on track. Barbakov looking for a lap time. Kaneo looking to make a push over to the line at the moment, trying to improve on 12th position right now is Filippo Caneo through the final corner, over the start-finish line, and that is no shades of improvement. 1.2 off of pole at the moment. So who's next best place? Try and get a lap in. It's Philip Kraus. He had a moment earlier on. He's 4th position, the winner of the opening round of the championship here in the AM category. Crosses the line and jumps up a position to 3rd, ahead of Sheldon Scott Muscat by 0.5 of a second right now. Here comes Barbakov, arguably best paced at this track, but he goes straight on and he will not improve. Mifsud goes up to 13th place on his time, and here comes Sheldon Scott Muscat looking to come for the line. Makes it nice and narrow, nice and neat, up to 2nd, 1:49.890. Fantastic job there to get that one working, and Jumi's gone off and will not improve. So it'll be Pierre-Andre Paridi on pole, Sheldon Scott Muscat alongside in 2nd, with Raimo Okus 3rd, and your race winner last time out, Philip Kraus, starting from 4th. It'll be Carpenter 5th and Christian Pintz in 6th, with Stoyan Barbakov 7th and Andrea Dalla Valle in 8th. Luca Furlich starts 9th, and Liam Rance rounding out the top 10. Elsewhere, you got Kaneo in 12th, Vernie is 11th, Mifsud and Mangan, followed by Sartori and Morga, Alan Smith, Kirsten Abeja, Kuzmeric, Kaufman, sadly starting from 21st, and Takanjumi 22nd. We're going to pay a couple of bills, though, here when it comes to World Pro Racing, and we'll be back with more after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020, presented by Fiverr. Hashtag making it work. And if this series is making it work for you, you can use that hashtag making it work to say, well, how is sim racing helping you this evening? How are you doing? What races have you done over the course of this week? Any sort of thing. If you use the hashtag making it work, we want to know here at World Pro Racing what is making it work for you. But more importantly than that, we're just a couple of minutes away from the gridding up procedure and the start of the first of 2 races here tonight here at this wonderful Silverstone circuit. And of course, these drivers know better than anybody else. They will be the first to deal with conditions today, and they will be the benchmarks for what those in the pro category division are going to be dealing with out on circuit. For Sheldon Scott Muscat, who is fast in this warm-up session, it is all about the final stages of preparation, making sure that everything in the setup, which are open, in terms of how the setups are going to be run, making sure that those final tweaks and changes may just work. Maybe working out, okay, where's my breaking point for this corner? Can I push that marker a little bit further, a 1 meter or 2 meters? Potentially, do I need to change up something drastically? For example, like a Tom Sadlerley would probably need to after a qualifying to forget for the man who finished second last time out at Adria. So this is going to be a tall order for some drivers, and it's going to be a nice walk for others, some would say. But the one guarantee is that there are no guarantees at Silverstone. Even the best succumb to this place, and it can get very difficult very, very quickly if drivers are just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So we'll see how this all works out over the course of 20 minutes worth of racing action, and that will come up for you in just a couple of seconds time, because warm-up is completed, and now we're going to take ourselves over to the starting grid, and hopefully with a 1 formation lap coming along as well. So this is going to be very, very entertaining and interesting for the way that this is all going to go about. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe in all platforms that you're watching this. If it's Twitch, if it's going to be on YouTube, if it's on Facebook Live, make sure that you make sure that you get anybody you can, everybody you can, anyone you think would be interested to go and have a good look at exactly what is going to be going on here today. So Pierre-Andre Previdi is on pole position. Sheldon Scott Muscat alongside with Raimo Okus and also Philip Kraus, 3rd and 4th. Sam Carpenter there in 5th position with Christian Pint in 6th. And then it's Stoyan Barbakov and Andre Dalla Valle on row 4. Following that is Luca Furlich and Liam Rance with Alessandro Vernier and Felipe Caneo, the first 6 rows of your grid, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to be quite interesting to see as these drivers all have a slow processional move away. So a formation lap in full they've got going on. Row 7 will be Nathan Mifsud and Liam Mangan with Alberto Sartori in 15th place and Raffaello Morga there in 16th. Alan Smith starts 17th. Kirsten Abeja is on the outside looking in. He'll have to start this one from pit lane in 18th overall. He did not get onto the grid fast enough. Juran Kuzmierzik starts the 19th, but will be promoted up to 18th with Idan Kaufman, 20th, now 19th. Tom Savely will start from 20th now instead of 21st. Tarek Njumi there in the McLaren-inspired Griiip G1, it seems, by the looks of it, and a very vintage one at that. Starts at the back of the field in 22nd, which will turn 21st position out there on track today. Well, drivers will now be looking to try and warm their tyres up, making sure they're keeping the heat cycles moving forward, making sure that the brakes stay up temperature as well, so that they don't lock up the tyres so much when they go through many of the various tough corners out here on this Silverstone track. A Silverstone track which has a lot of history and a lot of legacy. It's part of the Formula 1 calendar since 1950, expected to hold 2 rounds of the World Championship when it does eventually resume after complications this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But On top of that, this track has had every which way to look at for so much great action. You've got corner upon corner upon corner of great sim racing that can happen around this place, and almost every corner at some stage can be held at too wide, especially in vehicles maybe in the lower power region like these ones are. This is going to be a very important battleground today, and it's going to take the driver with the best racecraft to win this one, not necessarily the driver with the best pace. This is a racecraft circuit in these sorts of vehicles. You're maybe not going to see as many drivers have that ability to pull away as they would do at other circuits which have a lot better abilities to break away through certain styles of corners. This is not a track that has those. This is a track which is conducive to overtakes, and this is going to be maybe one of the better tracks in the calendar to fight a way back through the field for drivers who did not get the times working the ways that they wanted to. But for Pierre-Andre Previdi, he'll make his way through the final corner, and he will look to line up in his grid stall. And this is going to be an interesting look here. He'll be on the left-hand side of the circuit, heading towards turn number 1. Yes, that is the racing line into turn number 1, but crucially, it's the outside as they go. Those who are on the dirty side of the track are going to need a little bit of help, potentially, as Tom Sadley will be the last driver to pull up in his grid stall, and from there the gridding procedure will start. This is going to be a very important battle here today. This is where you need to be right on it. Drivers getting ready, engine notes set, smoke rising, and let's get ourselves underway. Good start by Previdi as he goes through. Drivers already pulling out of the way, and Sadly already retires out of this race. So Previdi takes the lead. Muscat there in second, and it is a battle for second that we're seeing right now, because there is Philip Kraus getting a storming start. Now looking towards the outside to try and get this move done as they all funnel into turns 3 and 4. One driver goes wide. That's going to be Christian Pintz, who now has to get nice and neat on the inside. One vehicle spins in front of them, though. That's Andrea Dalla Valle, who's going to go backwards down the field, loses a handful of positions as they get themselves onto the Wellington for the very first time over the 20 minutes and roughly about 12 laps. Here's some battling, though, as Barbakov looking for the inside contact there with Sheldon Scott Muscat. They both survived. They both slid. They both got it all together. Furlich holding a massive train up behind him there as there's Vernie and Pintz and Rance, and now Caneo trying to get in and round. Caneo's going to go up and over. There, I believe that is going to be Christian Pintz, who finds himself upside down and pretty much done on the roll bar. Gets himself rolled over, keeps going, but all of a sudden Previdi has dropped 2 positions out of the race lead, and that was coming through the former turn number 1 there of Kopp's Corner. So they were almost going to battle for the race lead here, Previdi and Kraus. Kraus got himself over to the inside. Contact on entry. Previdi has to run wide, take to the nice little escape that's there, and ultimately drops the race lead, but stays there well. Carpenter now in second, and Previdi now all the way down into 5th place. I wonder if he's got suspension damage from the contact that he's had. Furlich there in 6th place is going to be under pressure now as Alessandro Verni is going to come straight back. It's been an action-packed opening lap then in your AM category championship, and Vernie storms around the outside there of Luca Furlich up into 6th place. Here comes Previdi looking again at Sheldon Scott Muscat, trying to get back then for 4th and 5th. Kraus leads after starting 4th, Carpenter 2nd, Barbakov 3rd. The way that this race is stacked up after the opening 2 minutes worth of racing, and it is close here as Alessandro Verni all over the back of Previdi looks to try and get a move done on the inside on the brakes. Not close enough though to get that one happening. Furlich is going to look now around the outside to try and get the position back as Nathan Mifsud makes contact there on the inside, trying to be greedy there on that inside line, but now all of a sudden here comes Liam Ranson on the outside. He'll look to try and battle and gain those positions back. So sadly out of this race with technical issues, but here comes the move again. Previdi, and there is Alessandro Verni down the inside and making the move up inside the top 5. Exactly what was needed from the doctor. It was ordered. Barbakov currently under pressure in 3rd from Sheldon Scott Muscat, already 3.5 seconds off of Philip Kraus at the front. Kraus, it's got 9 tenths over Sam Carpenter, who will be desperately trying to stay even here, stay within that 1 second margin, and there's going to be a very busy opening few laps then for the race stewards, which are, of course, going to be Adrian Fagayo, your chief race director, and, of course, your chief race steward, that being George Muscat. But on top of that, you've got battling going on up and down the field. Justin Mifsud on the cameras for this one right now, but you can see just how everybody is snaking down this long hanger straight out on track. Liam Rance will get a 10-second stop and go penalty. He's the driver in 8th position right now, soon to be 9th if Nathan Mifsud is going to have anything to do about that, but will not. So he will have a 10-second stop and hold penalty, and that is going to stop and go penalty. That's not going to be ideal for Liam Rance, so he'll have to come in and make a stop then in this one, which of course is not mandatory here in this event, but for the time being, it is all going on behind Stoyan Barbkov as everyone looks for a position to try and hold on to, just for the time being. Felipe Caneo trying to get close to Raffaello Morga in the battle 13th and 14th. Out on track as Tarek Njumi comes down in and makes a stop, but no changes of position through turn 3 or turn number 4. For the time being, though, it is going to stay pretty much as it was at the moment. Drivers now are going to be in this cycle pattern. There's actually, here's some defense as Nathan Mifsud having to look behind at Andrea Dalla Valle, trying to go to the outside now to make that move. They were all the way to the inside, and wide runs Mifsud. He can't afford to have that happen too much, and down the inside goes Raimo Okus trying to get this. Is there enough on the outside to make this one happen? Well, they're going to go through the small kink right to Woodcut, tyre to tyre, front right to left rear as they go towards Copse Corner. Surely Raimo Okus has this, and he does with the overlap, and he moves up inside the top 10 back once again. So good work to get that position back once more, but the gap now at the front of the field up over 1.6 seconds out on track, and that looked like a mistake there from Philip Kraus, potentially heading through the Chapel Corner, doing okay. Mifsud, though, is off the circuit, and off the circuit big time in the early goings then. So he's had himself this big moment heading through Maggots and Beckett's. Through Maggots he was okay, but then he gets to Beckett's and the car snaps. So the rear just steps away, no tyre barriers, but all of the gravel in the world. And that was where the big hurt happened, as in comes Liam Rance looking for the line and coming down for the 10-second penalty that he has been assigned. So this is going to really hurt Liam Rance's run. Everybody approach a position and gain a bit. Here comes the battle for the podium, though. Sheldon Scott Muscat trying to find a way through on Stoyan Barbakov. On the brakes they go, into the right of turn number 3. And again, not doing Bernie there waiting. Pravidi there in the mix as well, trying to get any nose. But now you're in this position known as the slipstream train. Every driver in front of you has the draft up to that being Stoyan Barbakov, who has no help at this moment in time as they hit the brakes and go into the next left-hander. Very late apex from Barbakov. There was a half look there from Sheldon Scott Muscat, trying to find a way through. Barbakov taking alternative lines, trying to cover off the position. Knows that second place of Sam Carpenter is a little bit too far out of reach. Worth noting that at the moment, but there's always time to get this one all going back. So just keep this one in mind as these drivers are all looking to try and make that progress through the field, and that is going to be something just to keep in mind at this moment in time. If you want to look at Philip Kraus's laps, though, for example, he did 150.699 as his quickest lap of the race so far, and that is a lot different to Stoyan Barbakov, who's 51.9 is his best at the moment. So just keep that in mind as these drivers all look to start making their pushes here on through the field, looking to try and find every single position that's going to be vital. Here's some snaking, though, down the straight. Raffaello Morga on the back of Filippo Caneo. This one for 11th position. You got Mifsud behind, trying to find a move through as well on Juran Kuzmeric. And Kuzmeric there on the inside. That's to around the outside of Stowe Corner. The move is complete by Nathan Mifsud, so he's got that one done fantastically as he got himself away through. Pravidi now looking backwards here as this is Luca Furlich all over the back, trying to find a way through up into 6th position here, down at turn 3 on the brakes. No, not quite finding it. Is there going to be a move here for 4th? Not quite yet. Raimo Okus comfortably through on Andrea Dalla Valle. We've seen that, and already on the back here of Luka Furlic. So Raimo Okus right now here is flying 51-1 his last lap, but here's some side-by-side just behind, because here comes Alessandro Verni to the inside, position made. Very, very easy. 20-second stop-and-go penalty for Ivan Kaufman, who is right down the field at the moment in 20th position overall after his incident or his rejoin with Alan Smith. So he's going to be right back down the field at this moment in time. But it's Kraus from Carpenter, from Barbakov, then it's Verni and Muscat currently in 5th position. It's close between 3rd on backwards to 10th place, which is being housed by Liam Mangan here at the moment in 10th, looking to try and do everything possible to keep in range here with Andrea Dalla Valle, as there is a big gap forming between himself and Felipe Caneo of 3.3 seconds at the moment. Look at Furlic, though, having to defend hard already. Raimo Okus already ahead by a nose, and now ahead by a whole car as they get themselves through towards Stowe Corner. Nothing Furlic could do. Raimo Okus is flying at this moment in time, and Alessandro Verni's having to defend here, because here's Sheldon Scott Muscat trying to come back here, and they can't afford to attack too much or they'll lose Stoyan Barbakov here in this field as they head through final couple of corners. Wide goes Verni, though, through the final corner, and suddenly opportunity knocks, ladies and gentlemen, for Sheldon Scott Muscat to try and get this move. Has he got to look into turn 1? No, he's got to follow in the wing mirrors, so to speak, and try and get himself as large as possible to make this move on the brakes. Not close enough. Okus there on the brakes as well, and there is Furlic behind close, but can't quite get that position back, which so very easily he needs to out on track. It's just not happening at the moment. But lead at the front, 2.4 seconds between Philip Kraus and Sam Carpenter. It's that opening sector where the time is going away from Sam Carpenter, and they are already half distance through this 20-minute race. This is going to be a tall order to bring that time back of 2.4 seconds out on track. Here comes Sheldon Scott Muscat, though, in 4th position. Alessandro Verni does not even have a car length to defend with here as they run towards Copse Corner. A brave driver does it as Copse. Sheldon Scott Muscat not quite in position just yet to get that run, but gets a stormer off of the exit here after running slightly wide there, did Alessandro Verni. Not good enough. Furlic, though, trying to get the move done on Raimo Okus, and Okus has to yield there, despite having the inside through that small kink left, which leads to the Maggots Corner. So Luka Furlic back up then into 7th position. Okus down to 8th, and now it could be 9th again. Was he pushing too hard on the tyres? That could be something to look at here, as Andrea Dalla Valle is going to look down the inside, try and pick up this position without too many worries on the brakes. And up the place goes Andrea Dalla Valle into 8th, but here's an up and under from Raimo Okus, who had that one very well scouted and holds the position back once again. So well worked at the moment. Barbakov, though, all of a sudden has started to fall back into the clutches, and this is not ideal here on the podium, because Alessandro Verni wants to try and get this move, but runs wide at turn 1. That was so narrow actually there from Barbakov. He wiggles, he struggles then as they get on the brakes in towards the next corner. Turn number 3 out on track again, using all of the road. Muscat now will see this as an opportunity. He'll try and go around the outside, and all of a sudden you're caught in Schrodinger's overtake if you're Alessandro Verni. Attack and defense become exactly the same thing, and you do both at exactly the same time out on track. Still only one retirement so far in this race, as pretty much every other driver now looks to try and make that push through the field. Someone who's struggling is Christian Pintz, who of course rolled the car and got it back in a straight line, but ultimately is running into a few issues at the moment, finding everything to work. Muscat, though, look at how he's going to have to defend here, because this is going to be Pierre-Andre Pravidi trying to get through, and in front of that, there is Verni trying to find a way through on Barbakov at the moment, and Barbakov struggling out to the exits of these corners. Suddenly, side by side, Alessandro Verni on the run to Maggots and Beckett's here, and they go through, and just having to lift off there is Verni. Couldn't quite commit to it side by side. It's not quite the last lap of the race just yet, so that one very much the reason why that move couldn't be done. But look at the run off the exit then from Pravidi, who's going to get the run here on Muscat. And all of a sudden, it's now everybody for themselves, as Furlich now trying to get through as well on Sheldon Scott Muscat as they go through into this next section. Stowe corner, move complete, 2 positions lost, but Barbakov all of a sudden, side by side again. Verney to the inside, the final spot on the podium, fighting this one for 25 points, almost contact as they went on through. Verney's going to run a little deep, and Barbakov's going to try and come back around the outside to try and get this move done. Reimer Okus, though, is going to come down in onto the lane. This is unscheduled, so Reimer Okus, did he only put qualifying fuel in the car as they battle in front of them right now? That's going to be ideal, but no, there's contact, and that's Muscat and Pravidi and Barbakov all off down at turn number 1. Big incident as they went on through. Pravidi just about escaped with it, and that was the fear with 5 drivers going so close. Get a replay of it. It was pandemonium as they went on through. Barbakov struggling with pace, was nice and narrow, everybody else fanning around, and Luka Furlich somehow found a way through all of it. So massive dramas, and it now means that Kraus leads from Carpenter, Verney's 3rd, Furlich is 4th, Dalla Valle is in 5th, and Liam Mangan now is up into the 6th position overall now in this race. Some side-by-side still, as Raffaello Morgan's going to try and attack Sheldon Scott Muscat here at the Luffield corner, trying to get the move sorted, leave him out to dry on the outside, hung him out like yesterday's washing. Raffaello Morgan inside the top 10. Stewards will have a big look at the incident there with only 6 minutes remaining here in this race and a bit more, but Muscat straight back at Cop's corner. He gets the move done once again, stays inside of the top 10, and suddenly does it look like a stroke of genius that Reimer Okus needed to pit, because all of a sudden in 12th place is on the back of Morgan and Muscat after that big incident that happened at turn number 1 out on circuit. But Kraus, a half a second in the middle sector, is starting to walk away as he has done in the opening round of the championship. He finds himself in pretty much the best position of anybody else, as now 5 minutes remain here on the clock. Philip Kraus has lost time though in the final sector. He's lost a whole second actually. Sam Carpenter as they go on through, and that is a 10-second stop and go penalty for Sheldon Scott Muscat for the incident down at turn number 1. So that's going to put him back even further. If his first round was anything to go by, his second has been a disaster for different reasons out on circuit today. So he will drop back out of 10th place with Barbakov now in 9th, and Raffaello Morgan has lost the place that he had earlier on in this race. The gaps though are starting to look like, okay, we're getting a couple of battles, a group of 2 here, a group of 2 there. Luka Furlich on the back of Alessandro Verney, hoping that a podium is going to be in the offing for a Luka Furlich who started on the 5th row of the grid here, ladies and gentlemen. So anything is possible, and it very much has been at this moment in time. So towards Cops they come along, looking towards that final sector. Furlich looking to the inside with a nose, but not having enough room to make that happen just yet. He's running out of laps though to make this happen. He needs to find something soon if he is to get exactly what he needs. And Furlich now trying to chase down through every corner, but running wide, missing apexes, just putting too much power in is starting to cost Furlich's run at the moment. And if they start tangling, Andrea Dalla Valle is only a second back, so it's going to be a case of, if you're going to make a move, you're going to have to do it now, you're going to have to do it quickly. Behind that, Filippo Caneo in 8th place has got 2 very hard-charging drivers. You've got Soyan Barbakov there, you've got Sheldon Scott Muscat who needs to pit. These 2 are going to need to get by pretty quickly, if memory serves me correctly, or if anything serves anyone correctly at this point. In comes Muscat for the stop and go, but Caneo just holding on position here with Barbakov just behind. It's been a case of the walking wounded so far here in this race. Raffaello Morgan has Reimer Okus for company as well in 11th and 12th position at the moment, but at the front 1.9 seconds for Philip Kraus here with Sam Carpenter in second. The battle for third still raging on at the moment, with Luka Furlich trying to get into position right now. Nathan Mifsud also having to dive down onto the lane with damage. It would probably be the case for him as he dives down and makes that stop. And we're getting more confirmation coming in from the stewards in just a moment's time, as Verney through the left-hander of Brooklands corner, doing all right at the moment, and that is a drive-through penalty for Nathan Mifsud for the instant on Kuzmierczyk that they have had, that we have seen off of camera here, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to be the key for them. Look how defensive Vernie's going, though. Here, he's gone all the way to the former pit wall in towards the former turn number 1, and again runs wide. They're heading through Cops, and all of a sudden, Verlich has just got to stay calm if he wants this move to be done. They are pulling away from Andrea Dalla Valle. They don't have to worry about that. Vernie's got around all on his own. Vernie drops 2 positions, and this could be a third. He's got no pace. There goes Mangan through, and surely Pravidi might just snipe one away as well here on the hanger straight, with Vernie not up to speed. An unforced error, and it's all gone away. That is a podium, now down to 7th position, and that is how you don't take the Beckett's Corner here at Silverstone. 2 laps remaining, though, for one Mr. Philip Kraus, who leads this event by 1.9 seconds, but there's traffic in the form of Tarek and Jumi in front. They've got to be careful as they approach it. Kraus and Carpenter. Carpenter has not shown signs of closing down that gap, but has kept Kraus honest throughout the entirety of this race so far. But now every position becomes a battleground. Mangan will have to hold off Pravidi and Vernie, and then you got this here as Barbakov is through on Kaneo. But look at this, Raimo Okus wanting to get into 9th place here, up at turn number 3. On the brakes they go, Muscat in again to try and get himself to stop, and on the brakes they go. Not happening. Raffaello Morga on the back, diving for the inside. That's not going to work. Going to have to sit and wait, and you can't be greedy at the back of the train. Yes, you're running out of laps. Yes, you're running out of time, but you have to pick and choose your moments. You have to pick and choose your chances as you head on to this Wellington straight, looking for the move. Again, back into line you go, and try and search that overtake again. Will you have to, Raimo Okus? It's not happening just yet as they head on through. Verlich holding off the positions that he needs. Mangan doing just enough. 0.4 of a second Mangan's got over Pravidi, but that is not a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination right now in terms of the way this is going. Lap traffic comes up ahead for Stoyan Barbakov in his battle right now, and suddenly 20 minutes is put on the clock. This is the final lap of this race, and it seems that for Philip Kraus, he knows what he needs to do. He knows what he's needed to do for a very long time as he hits the brakes and looks through the left, looks through the right here of the Vale corner, and will round himself through the final little section of track. It's been fantastic once again by Philip Kraus as he goes back to back with victories, with Carpenter in second and Luka Verlich picking up the podium. It's going to be close to the finish. Pravidi and Vernie. Vernie's going to run out of road if he's to get this one done. He can't find it. Oh, it's all kicking off in the background there. Raimo Okus there almost gets a rear tyre full of Kaneo. Kaneo just about holds it off. Raffaello Morga can't attack and pull this one up towards the end either. It's a long run to the start-finish line, remember, as drivers will feel like they had chances today, but have just not found them. Kuzmierczyk, though, under pressure. Here comes Nathan Mifsud down to the inside, looking to pick up 14th place, and around they go, and pick one up more for Christian Pintz. He steals one from Nathan Mifsud, trying to be aggressive late on. So the final driver's coming over towards the line. This is how it all finished. Philip Kraus picks up the win in 20 minutes and 31 seconds, wins by 1.9 over Sam Carpenter, with Luka Verlich in 3rd place. Andrea Dalla Valle finishes 4th, with Liam Mangan 5th, and Pierre-Andre Pravidi coming home in 6th place. Alessandro Verni gets 7th, with Stoyan Barbakov 8th, and Raimo Okus in 9th. Filippo Caneo rounding out the top 10. Following that, Raffaello Morga finishes 11th, with Alberto Sartori quiet race in 12th place, with Liam Rance in 13th and Duran Kuzmierczyk in 14th. Christian Pintz finishes 15th, with Alan Smith 16th, Nathan Mifsud 17th, and Kirsten Abeja in 18th place. Sheldon Scott Muscat is classified as 19th, with Njumi and Kaufman 1 lap down, and Tom Savely pulling out before he even got past the start-finish line with technical issues in that race. Well, 2 from 2, and a big boost in that championship for Philip Kraus. He knows what he needs to do, and that is to continue putting those results together as racing does continue around this place. But we are very much not over and done with racing action here today, because your pro event comes up in just a few minutes' time. We are going to step aside, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll be back with pro action coming up after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Griiip G1 2020 Virtual Series here on the rFactor 2 platform, presented by World Pro Racing. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch, as well as later on the ESR 24/7 Esports Network and ESPN. This series is presented by Fiverr, hashtag making it work. And of course, prizes for the AM category we have seen, presented by GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster, your mod, created by ASR Formula. Now, to the big matter, the big money, the 5,000 duel that these drivers will be having for 5,000 euros pool, the race for 2,500 for a championship victory overall. It's going to be a very interesting tale for these drivers who are all here looking to try and put themselves up at the very, very top. For the time being, in terms of who got the big spills at the opening round at Adria, well, no surprises. It was the Burst Esports man. It was the Croatian Jurnej Simoncic who put everybody in their place with some tire-saving mastery that came into full fruition. But no guarantees after the opening race, because this race is going to be very, very crucial. Erhan Yayovski, for example, and Risto Capit have a lot to prove with the Roman Grosjean team, R8G, taking over from AAA. It's going to be a big, big showing that they need after a 1-3 performance. Oh, sorry, a 2-3 performance, I should say, last time out. And it is worth talking about who is best placed where when it comes to that championship, because as everybody knows, when you're fighting for the series, it is going to be all about who puts points on the board and who puts them up earliest and who puts them up the most consistently over the course of the season. So that's something just to keep in mind. So that's going to key. So these drivers all know what they need to do. They all know what they have underneath them. Got the likes of Dennis Jordan, who did very, very well. Alex Siebel, Davin Rojek, all looking like they are going to be well placed for the runs that they are looking for over the course of the event. So we'll keep an eye on that as they find themselves in practice at the moment, looking to try and find themselves with some good results out there today. Something else of note is the fact that Peter Briliak has officially made his move to Williams. So keep an eye on Peter Briliak, who was in the midfield for the majority of the racing that had been going on. So Peter knows that what he needs to do with this new team is make a bright impression first and foremost over the course of the racing. Something that is worth talking about, actually, in terms of the championship. A 5-second penalty was handed at the end of the last event when cameras all got turned off to Jurnej Simoncic, which has actually cost him the race victory overall. I believe that was the incident with Erhan Yayovski. So that meant that Risto Capit, Erhan Yayovski, and Dennis Jordan, for both R8G cars and also the Evolution Motorsports team, have jumped up the order 1, 2, and 3. So that is a huge swing in terms of where Jurnej Simoncic would be looking at in terms of what he wants for his championship. He won the race on the road, but he didn't after Stewart's inquiry. So from what was a 5-point lead is now a 15-point deficit. So those 5 seconds are enough of a 20-point swing in this championship. So everything has started to turn and change, and result now becomes so very, very vital in this one. But with just about 6.5 minutes to go before they get themselves over towards qualifying, and a very strong qualifying it is going to be as well. The form book says Roman Grosjean's team, which only just came into fruition last month, is pretty much at the top. And it's worth talking about the runners. Risto Capit sets the first representative time on the board, a 1:48.999 to jump inside of the 1:49 barrier. What is worth talking about is actually what this means for sim racing and what Roman Grosjean jumping in, and he jumped in pretty much under the radar, I think is the right way to describe it, because I think I only found out the day before covering the opening round of the championship that Roman Grosjean had a team, and actually the caliber of drivers that they brought in, the likes of Risto Capit, Erhan Yayovski, but Thibaut Calzabon in there as well, as someone who is going to be electric to watch when it comes to these sorts of series. Now the question becomes, okay, they got a 1-2 in the opening race. Didn't quite get it on the track, but they got a 1-2. They've got the stranglehold in the championship. That's exactly what's wanted. Where next, though? It's a small team. 5 drivers at the moment, 6th one on the way. Small team, prestigious team, all about getting best drivers for the job team. Who joins the team? I've said team about 18 times. It would be worse if they actually signed Nicky Team, but that's a different point entirely. But for the time being anyway, it seems like Roman Grosjean, who will be looking on and seeing, well, how are the results doing? Oh, they're doing pretty well at the moment. We had a 1-2 in that opening round, thanks to Stewart. They will be hoping that their result is going to go well compared to the Danish outfit, which is Burst Esports, which had some very drivers back in on the team a couple of years ago, the likes of Marcus Jensen, who's moved on to Team Redline, the likes of Kazuki Umeshima and co. This is a team which is all about development, really, when you see Burst Esports. They want to challenge in different areas. They want to make sure that they put themselves up at the highest level possible. But it's here in rFactor 2 where they are starting to shine. Like Jurnej Simoncic joins the team, Davin Mrozek, another driver. Just keep an eye out on who can, on his day, find himself up there at the top and fighting for race wins in open wheels. We have seen it before, and we will see it again and again. There are so many drivers who could put themselves up there in the talking point of conversation. There are also other drivers who are surprisingly out of the talking point of conversation. Yuri Kazdorp is one of them, a driver who arguably, when it comes to GT, when it comes to closed wheel, arguably is the fastest man of anybody, and could be someone who really does knock on the door and says, well, hello, this could be my challenge. He definitely isn't a slouch when it comes to sim racing, and you can see that through the amount of sims that he races, the amount of prestige that he has on those sims. I saw on his iRacing account that he moved over 7,000 after spending only 1 year on the service, so that's a big plus for Yuri Kazdorp. But Kazdorp is this sort of driver who is hit or miss at the moment when it comes to vehicle. There are some vehicles where it clicks with him and he's an acre ahead of the rest of the field. Something like this, though, here in your Griiip G1 series, he's nowhere at the moment, and it showed in the opening round of the championship, and he needs to go and find something again. Quite interesting, though, here in terms of practice. Jesper Eriksson up into second position overall, and Jesper Eriksson, someone who didn't have the best run in the world, 13th in that opening round, only picks up 3 solitary points over the course of his running, so he'll be looking at this going second in practice. That looks pretty nice. I'll hope that this continues in terms of the results and hoping to get things going, but there are going to be so many drivers who are going to be looking to try and move up the order. Alexander Dornaden, for example, someone who is surprisingly a little bit off the pace, but 1:48.9 there in practice, that's good enough to move to 5th place overall in terms of the timing stands at the moment. But someone like him, who picked up 9th in the opening round, has 7 points, is just 1 point ahead of Peter Briliak, who's moved to the Williams Esports outfit. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think some drivers are going to be looking at today. There are, of course, other drivers who are knocking on the door. Luis Felipe Capamagian, the Peruvian driver, did a very, very good job in the opening round, picking up a 7th place finish. Michi Hoyer did well for 8th position overall. He's currently 11th at the moment in burst colours for practice. He also has that very, very good partnership with the Sim Pit, of course, with Sean Cole. So we'll see how good Michi Hoyer runs here today. But you've also got the likes of Alex Siebel, who is someone who is just staying under the radar. Someone like, say, a Carlos Sainz, for example, who just quietly picks up the results time and time again. 15 points after a 5th place finish. It's certainly nothing to shake a stick at for Alex Siebel. It's going to be something to keep in mind as they focus here at Silverstone this week and they look towards Imola next. So now you start thinking about, okay, halfway in the championship next round, if you haven't got it right over the first 2 rounds, you need a worldie of a run to finish off the season. If this season isn't working right now, then you've got to find something. If it is working right now, it's going to be all about how much you push into the next race. How many points, how many positions you can gap, because in a race like this, in a championship like this, where you've only got 6 rounds, a 1-round advantage means a lot more than it would do, say, if you had a 25, a 30, a 38-round championship, for example, like NASCAR has. It's all about picking up 1 round's advantage. You want to finish off a championship as quickly as you possibly can. And say, for example, Formula 1 as a comparison, a lot of Formula 1 championships over the last few years have been won before the final round of the championship. So keep this in mind as I take a swill of drink. Practice is over at this moment in time, with Jurne Simoncic at the top of the timing stands on a 1:48.697 as the marker to beat at this moment in time. So this is going to be crucial to see how these drivers are all finding these results. But remember, we got the racing coming up, but qualifying is going to be next. A good split in terms of all of these drivers going on. And of course, there are a lot of drivers who come from the Griiip G1 series overall who will be looking to try and make that push. The likes of the Manuel Bianchi-Lilias, the Alessandro Ottavanis, the Giacchino Viglionis, who will be looking to try and make that progress up through. Diego Ramos actually had some very good times. He was 8th position actually in that practice, as well as Kakamagno, who is not necessarily a favourite with the drivers, is she. She's currently a little ways off the pace compared to everybody else. I think I looked in practice and she was 3 seconds off compared to many rivals out there as they all sit and wait down at the end of pit lane, waiting for the clock to strike, and it has. So 10 minutes of qualifying, well, they're put up on the board. So now here comes the question, who puts themselves at the front? It's Luca D'Amelio, who will be looking to try and set the times first and try and get those results moving forward. The likes of say Jason Muscat, Paul Augustlano will be looking for good times as well over the course of this as they all go through. The likes of Vlad Tokarev will be searching for times, as well as Erhan Yayovsky, who is going to be just a little bit later to the party, I think, compared to a lot of other drivers. So we'll see how this goes as they look to make that push through. The 29 drivers who will be looking to search for times that are all going to be working out for them. It's all about track position in the early stages. We'll see who will put themselves in best position for this race. But we've seen how aggressive a lot of drivers had been in the early stages of the AM category race. This pro race, we saw a lot of aggression as well, but there's going to be controlled aggression at the front of the field. It's all about patience. It's all about waiting. They've raced each other a million times before at the front. And in terms of the drivers who are up there at the top of this championship, they are the sort of top drivers that you would find in any top championship on rFactor 2. These are the cream of the crop, the best of the best that rFactor 2 has to offer, and time again we see all of these drivers race absolutely fantastically around this place. So we'll see who will put themselves in the best position to get the results that they want. The likes of Simoncic, Jordan, Capit, Dornaden, Yayovsky, all of whom will be looking to try and find the one result that they need to pull apart a big run here today at Silverstone. This is where you start making things count. So who is going to make it count as the first lap start? And let's go with Erhan Yayovsky then for a run around the track here. Turn 2 coming up, and it's all about being nice and neat then on the brakes in towards turn 3, using the track. Oh, you can see the backsliding out through turn 3, almost trying to will the car through the corners in through turn 4. Missed apex though. That's not going to be useful for the R8G car going through, and that's going to be an abandoned ship lap, I do believe. Yep, hit the brakes, and one vehicle will go on by. So that is not what you want to start your laps, making sure that the mistakes do not happen early, especially at a long track like Silverstone is. This is going to be a difficult challenge to get the laps together because you don't have very long, and if one lap goes wrong, suddenly you get 2, 3, 4, you end up in the Tom Sadlerly zone if you get it all wrong. Let's look though at the likes of, say, Jurne Simoncic making a push then through this fantastic woodcut corner towards Kops, turn number 1 former, out on track. It's about turn 11 now here on this service, but all of a sudden it's all about straight lining. It's all about maximizing every bit you possibly can, and in terms of making good runs, this is the purest form of speed running, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a slide from Simoncic, and this lap is scruffy all of a sudden for the man who won the opening round on track, but did not win the opening round after the stewards had their say. And of course, they've got a good lot to go on. Risto Capit here, other of the R8G, the Roman Grosjean car, making a run towards the final couple of corners, hoping that those first times coming in are going to be ideal. We'll see where the form is. D'Amelio on a 49.4 sets the opening pace then for this one. Siebel, though, to a 48.9 puts the time in. Ericsson up to second, but Capit improved. 48.676 is the marker. Dornaden up to second. Simoncic is only down in fifth. He's half a second back despite the slide. Briliac there for Williams up into second position. That was a banker of a lap time there that was so desperately needed. So that's very interesting. Capit from Briliac from Dornaden. Then it's Siebel, Ericsson and Simoncic, your top 6 at the moment. Borja Milan, 9th position. Dennis Jordan in 8th. D'Amelio there in 7th position. Jason Muscat comes over the line and goes to 11th. Viglione is there in 10th. So Gio finds himself in 10th place at this moment in time. So drivers searching for what they need. Kirill Birakov is there in 15th. A few drivers haven't found the best lap times in the world. Yoyoski at 55.8. That, of course, was a sighter for what he needed after not having the best run through 3 and 4. He is a driver who strives on perfection of himself, of others, of the way that he races, and he knows what he wants, and he wants to put himself at the top and winning this championship. He knows what he's capable of doing. He knows what he needs to do to make that a reality. But already half of the time gone then in this qualifying session. They know what they have underneath them. They know what they need to achieve. They maybe have 2 laps, pit 2 laps, or sometimes 2 laps, pit 1 lap in terms of what they have underneath them at the moment. Kasdorp 13th on a 49.9, so 1.3 seconds splitting the top 13. Expect it to be a lot wider, the margins here today. Cakamagno is down the order on a 59.2. She's 10 seconds, 10 and a half seconds actually, off the pace along with Yoyoski, but searching for sighters around this place, and it is tough to adjust to what is needed of drive today to get the results that they want. Yoyoski, where did that 48.2 come from? That's a magical lap, with Risto Capit second on a 48.5. The lap times are fantastic at the moment, and Briliak in third is 0.6 off of what is needed. Drivers searching for every time possible. Lana now in 13th. Diego Ramos up into 11th place out on track. So drivers searching for more. Siebel there, not quite getting enough. Mrozek now into 8th place on a 49.3. D'Amelio is 9th. Muscat 10th, and Dennis Jordan down in 11th position overall. So that is going to be something very key to keep in mind as this racing does continue. This qualifying session starts to hit to that later stages of what we've got going for it at the moment, and everybody is looking at these Romain Grosjean cars thinking, where on earth have they got 3 and 6/10 on the rest of the field? That is magical at the moment from those two who are looking like they're trying to set up to be class of the field. Here comes Dornaden over the line, 48.913, does not set a representative flying lap that time by, so he will not get anything in terms of improvement just yet. Mrozek coming out to the pits for his final run of the racing. I think a lot of drivers are searching for the one more. What have I got? Have I got the one more lap? Have I got the one more 10th? The one more 100th? Maybe if you're someone like Dennis Jordan, you're searching for the one more 1,000th, because currently 9th to 11th are split by just 4 of them. No, sorry, 5 of them at the moment. D'Amelio to Dennis Jordan. So that is incredibly close, fighting for the top 10. Other drivers down the order. Kapamagian is down in 20th position at the moment behind his teammate Dean Vella in 19th overall as part of the RPM Esports outfit. You got the likes, say, of Gio Viglione down there in 13th place. Overall, Ottaviani there in 21st with Cosimo Papi in 22nd. Mateo Stumpf in 23rd place. Overall, a few drivers have yet to set a time. Mishi Hoyer, Vlad Tokarev, Tom Beckhauser, some of the names. Manuel Biancalilia is another one who is running into a few troubles. Alex Siebel comes out to the pit. Simoncic back in, and he will have to very quickly get himself out and going again because he's running out of time. I think he is out of time even to get the lap in. He's going to be right on the cusp, and I think he starts no higher than 6th place. Does Jurne Simoncic, and all of a sudden his championship looks very much on the back foot as he will have to try and fight this one all the way to the end. So now you start thinking about, okay, position yourself. You got one more go at this, and look at where Briliak is compared to Risto Capit. He's going to slot in right behind Risto and get the run, but behind both of them is Erhan Yoyoski, and if he gets within range, he's got the big sights in front. So it will be Capit, then it will be those drivers in front of us. In fact, Alexander Dornaden has just gone 3rd on a 48.803, so he moves to 3rd. Does Dornaden, of course, someone who has had all of the big looks at him from his career in sim racing. He's someone who's got that marquee name value put up alongside him. Alexander Dornaden then going up to 3rd position overall. Suddenly everything becomes vital. Everything becomes a case of, well, what can you find left as these drivers will all start searching for, okay, 45 seconds to go. Where am I best placed to get my final lap going? You got drivers out on track looking for it. D'Amelio will go no higher than 8th. Simoncic no higher than 6th place. 30 seconds to go. Who will put themselves in the wheelhouse at the moment? Siebel on the back then of the likes of Erhan Yuyovsky as well. This is going to be a mad rush to make sure everybody gets themselves into position right now as Mishi Hoyer goes 10th with 1 lap only. Jumps Mrozek, who's down now into 11th position. Kapamajan up into 9th overall with his time, and drivers now going through 8 seconds to go. Briliak will get over the line and get himself going. Kapit out there already on a flyer. Siebel out on a flyer. Simoncic will not get anything going. Timer expires on the clock. All the main rivals have got what they needed. Dornadon will go no higher than 3rd, though. He's down on the lane. Simoncic has no time, and Kapamajan in the gravel is out of this one. So eyes on Yuyovsky. Mistake, though, as he comes through turn number 4. Out on track. He will go no quicker than a 48.2. So now it turns to Capit. Now it turns to Briliak. Now it turns to Siebel, and now it turns to Ericsson. All of these drivers within a second need to find some magic if they are to close down the 2 R8G guys at the front. Team of Roman Grosjeans, which is absolutely storming. Look at Briliak right now, needing everything he possibly can at this moment in time, and he's got a little bit of somebody hounding him behind, and that's not going to be helping him at all with the way that he wants his runs to go. And I believe that Risto Capit here is on a pretty good lap as things stand. Peter Briliak trying everything. The driver behind him runs into troubles. Alex Siebel, remembers, in 5th place. He's looking for a little bit more out on circuit. Mrozek's jumped up to 8th. D'Amelio is in 9th. So Kapamajan currently in 10th place overall. Hoyer 11th. Ramos 12th. Jason Muscat there in 13th at the moment. Drivers heading into the final sector. First across the line will be Risto Capit, searching for that 1 time. Has he got what he needs? Has he got 3/10 in the back pocket? He's a consistency driver, more than a 1-lap specialist. He's not the best hot lapper compared to Erhan, but here comes Risto Capit. The Estonian makes the push to the line. Has he got more? Ericsson jumps to 3rd, 1,000th ahead of Dornadon. Capit does not find time, does not improve. Here comes Briliak. Siebel goes to 3rd, and Briliak beats him to it, though, with 1/10 of a second, and he just couldn't get to Risto Capit. Biancalili up into 11th place with his time as well, and that is qualifying pretty much done. And Yuyovsky and Risto Capit make it an an R8G front row lockout as they go through. Briliak for Williams starts 3rd, and Alex Siebel in the Evolution car starts 4th. Then it's Jesper Eriksson 5th, Alexander Dornadon 6th, Jerne Simoncic for Burst in 7th, with Davin Mrozek alongside in 8th, D'Amelio 9th, and Luis Felipe Kapamajan rounding out the top 10. Following that, you got Biancalili, Mishi Hoyer, Diego Ramos, Jason Muscat, Dennis Jordan, Alon Day, and the rest of the results then coming on through. We're going to pay a couple of bills, though, here with World Pro Racing. We'll be back with the racing. 30 minutes of it after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your virtual Series, which is, of course, brought to you by Griiip G1 in 2020. It is presented by Fiverr, hashtag making it work. We want to know how you are making it work as well, as these drivers will look to make it work for 30 minutes worth of racing action here in the second round of 6 here in this very important championship. As things stand, there is a lot of battling, there's a lot of sorting out to be done, but it was those who got the win after the cases were closed in terms of the racing action who are at the front. Yayovsky ahead of the championship leader Risto Capit, and if they stay in those orders that they have going on, they will be tied equal on point heading to Imola, the third round of the championship. So, now comes a big opportunity for these drivers. They know this track is all about overtaking, getting things done quickly. And if you can get it done quickly around this place, you can put some drivers in a little bit of a difficult situation is the right way to describe it. And I think those drivers who are going to be in a tougher position when they are forced to battle will now have to see how much their mettle is tested. There are a lot of drivers in this field who need to find a way back through in this championship. Briliak is certainly one of them in the Williams Esports outfit. Needs to find results and needs to find them quickly after what was a poor opening round to the championship. You can't afford those. Those are very difficult to recover back from. But if this is any series where we see some variation in terms of who makes it to the top and who finds victories, well, drama could very well await these drivers as they will be getting themselves ready. Warm-up is over. That's it. Setups now have to be locked in place. Any changes they've made, they're done now, and they have to make sure that what they have available to them is going to be a masterstroke heading into this big race. This is the Silverstone GT layout. It's a longer run to the start-finish line, and it is going to be a big challenge today for these drivers who know that every corner is a tyre killer out on circuit. So who's going to put themselves best placed then today for the racing action that we've got in front of us? Gridding section now applies as Erhan Yayovsky and Risto Capit will lock the front row. Peter Briliak will start third with Alex Siebel there in fourth position. Jesper Eriksson starts fifth with Alexander Dornaden in sixth, with Jurno Simoncic and Davin Mrozek making it an all-burst fourth row. Luca D'Amelio is followed by Luis Felipe Capamagian. Manuel Biancalilia starts 11th with Michi Hoyer 12th. Then it's Diego Ramos, Jason Muscat, Dennis Jordan, poor qualifying 15th. And Alon Day is there in 16th position overall as the formation lap does start. Then you've got Giacchino Viglione there in 17th. Paul August Lana in 18th overall. Then you've got Kirill Birakov 19th. Yuri Kazdorp starts all the way back in 20th position. Following that, Borja Milan and Dean Vella on row 11. Alessandro Ottaviani in 23rd. Vlad Tokarev 24th. He's been struggling all run long. You've got Mateusz Stumpf, Cosimo Papi, and then Kaka Magno there. She's in 27th. Likes of Tom Beckhauser there down at the bottom in 29th position overall. So, who's going to put themselves in the best possible spot? This is where, at a track which is very wide, very open, allows a lot of room for battling around this place, this is where you start to see, okay, how aggressive do you go early? This may be one of the places where you start thinking, you start wondering, well, how much of a benefit is this going to be for me? And what do I need to do to get the results back in the championship that I'm fighting for? Those who are looking to fight here in terms of the championship after the opening round, the likes of those at the front, Yayovsky and Capit in the Roman Grosjean outfitted vehicles, they start 7th and 15th. That's a long day in the office to start from 7th and 15th. Doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how quick you are, doesn't matter who your name is, what you've done, and what you had for dinner. It is going to be a tall order for drivers who are fighting in this championship to get the results. This is where we see the form book, and the form book right now reads it means RHG, sorry, at this moment in time. If it read F, it would be in disaster, and I don't think anybody wants to see their race ended in an F. so to speak, today for grades. At the moment, it was an A+++ qualifying for Yayovsky and Capit, but you've got to look at Peter Briliak. When he turns up, he puts anybody on notice. Alex Siebel's been very, very quiet. He's been knocking on the door like a Carlos Sainz or a Nick Heidfeld has. Jesper Eriksson is there. He's sitting pretty. He's waiting. Don't count out Alexander Dorneden either. Alexander Dorneden has a big reputation for a reason. He'll be looking to showcase exactly what he is made of. Other drivers like Michi Hoyer, always keep an eye on Michi Hoyer. Michi has that ability to go up there and put the best result in the world on the table. Sometimes he's right down there at the bottom of the pack. But for the moment, he is midfield, and he'll be looking to try and make sure that he is going higher than that midfield of 12th position to start this one. We've seen how turn 1 as well has been a big key battleground, and if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of big battlegrounds, you can catch so much more here with World Pro Racing on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. If you haven't already, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, you can do follow, you can do whatever it is. You can share it out on all your socials that you've got available. Make sure that you watch for more brilliant World Pro Racing. And this is going to be fantastic to see, as well as the likes of the EWSK Masters, which is coming up this weekend. So keep that in mind as these drivers are all looking to try and push for best results, and more drivers will be looking to do something very, very similar. But through the final couple of corners now, those in front have a large margin, and they're going to have the coldest tyres of anybody when they get to the start. And you can see how Peter Briliak is leaving a good 10 car lengths here back to the cars in front. He knows what he needs to do. He needs to make life as tough as possible for those drivers in front. And every driver now, there will be a long, long hold as they will all search for their grid slots. They start backing up, and look at how much Erhan Yayovsky is backing up the pack once again, and knowing that I've left too much of a gap here. Let's get everybody into line and make sure that we've got the best possible chance. Remember, it is a, quote, one line suits all first corner. You can go too wide, but you have to be brave. You have to make sure you leave enough room. And when it all funnels to the exit, you got to hope that you don't run yourself into contact. It has happened so many times before, and hopefully we don't see it again here today. Just waiting for the likes of Kakamagno down at the back of the field to get ready and associated up onto the starting grid, and then we'll get ourselves ready for racing action. 30 minutes will be put on the clock. Everything is all about momentum at this point in time. Momentum off the line, momentum in the championship. Here comes the opportunity. Drivers, get yourselves ready. This is Silverstone. This is round 2 of your Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020, presented by Fiverr. And it starts. Well, hopefully it starts. It's going to start right about now. It was a long, long hold for everybody, and that would have been a shock for some people. Poor start from Briliak. He's already behind Alex Siebel, who's, sorry, that's a poor start for Siebel, who somehow holds on to it as they're side by side for the race lead. Capit and Yayovsky going at it. This is Risto Capit on the inside then, in towards turn number 3. Yayovsky's going to have to yield here and make sure he plays rear gunner and defends this one as they go through. Briliak trying for the outside. That's okay for the moment. Some battles going through. Contact Kapamajan, and in the background, more contact there as they go through. I believe that was down with Dennis Jordan, who got a tap, I believe, from Paul August Lana as they make the push up through. Some side-by-side in the middle of the pack here going on in front of Kapamajan. There is 3 wide and 2 wide as D'Amelio trying to have his fight. Michi Hoyer's got himself through, but there's contact, and D'Amelio just about holding off Diego Ramos, who's going to try and come back here, back at the inside. More contact between those two. Go careful, boys, as they go on through, and they're doing okay for the time being. We are staying good to go at this moment in time here. 1 minute already out of 30. We're already at 30th. Get some words out, Jake. 30th of the way through the race at the moment. Briliak looking behind. There's Jesper Eriksson up into 4th position right now. Simoncic stays 7th. Mrozek there in 8th position. Still battling those. Hoyer has mirrors full of Kapamajan through Maggot and Beckett for the very first time. They go on through. Is there a way through? Not just yet, but they've got the hanger straight. coming up, which is going to be one of the key places to watch out for overtakes here today. Ladies and gentlemen, as the front two looking to try and break away. Capit and Yayovsky here at the front. Briliak in third. But now you start looking here, some side-by-side as Alexander Dornadon under pressure here from Mr. Jerne Simoncic, who looks for the outside now as they come through, but the inside corner works, having to defend now on the brakes into the next section of the road, and that is Simoncic up into 6th place. The recovery starts here, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody's going to go through and look to try and get themselves moving forward. Alon Day looking to try and find a way through. Hoyer's dropped a couple of places here in the early stage. They make their way towards turn number 1 once again. Not quite close enough, but it's all on in the background here. Is Ottaviani contact there with one Yuri Kazdorp, and Ottaviani's going to go straight on and have to slow down. Oh, that's a terrible rejoin. That is a horrible rejoin, and Dean Vella's gone straight on there at turn 3 because of a truly atrocious rejoin back onto the track there as they go through. Battle for third, though. Let's look at proper sim racing here. Jesper Eriksson down the inside, getting the move done on Peter Briliak. Jesper Eriksson is absolutely motoring here at the moment, and he's now finding himself 1 second behind Yayovsky and Capit at the moment out on track. Capit exactly the same position he was in 1 week ago, leading the field at the and front. At this moment in time, it's on behind though. Hoyer has found the back of Bianca Lilia. Contact there. Hoyer trying to go for the inside. That's not going to work. Here looks Alon Day to the outside now, trying to find his move. And there's more contact. And Hoyer is very much going from pillar to post at this moment in time. Here comes Viglione trying to find the move around the inside, which turns to the outside, and he's got it done before they even make Maggot's corner. So well worked there from Viglione to get the position through, and Michi Hoyer is going one way. That way is backwards at this moment in time as they push on forward. But for the time being, it's all about positions. The top 7 finding themselves in great places. Top 8 in 4 seconds at the moment. But then there's the gap from Davin Rožič on back. So it's 9 at the front. D'Amelio in 10th and Chen trying to push through in 11th place to try and get on back then. In this one, the front 2 though, happy at the moment. Roman Grosjean watching will be very happy at the moment. Half a second the gap between them. 1.3 back to Jesper Eriksson there, who is sat in 3rd place, pulling away from Peter Briliak at this moment in time, who's proving he's had great qualifying pace, but is the race pace there in the Williams Esports outfit? That's the question, with Siebel behind and Simoncic and Dornadon and Ramos, and there's Morozic and D'Amelio and Kapmadjan, and the train keeps on rolling and it does not stop as they hit the brakes in towards 4 and now out of 5. Michi Hoyer and Viglione once again close together, trying to go the long way around. Here is Michi trying to find this one. There's Dennis Jordan just behind, who's -1 at the moment, but look at the toe he's going to get. Absolutely fantastic from Dennis Jordan on the brakes. Viglione had nothing. D'Amelio's gone backwards behind Kapmadjan as well at the same corner, and almost a bit of contact there between those two as well. But crucially, battle still continues here for Dennis Jordan, trying to bring a way back into this race, and he just about gets it. And here comes Kirill Birakov now, getting a stormer of a run, looking to try and get this one done into Kopp's corner. Has he got a look at the inside? No, he does not. So Move has to wait for the time being, not quite in a position to make this one happen. Caccamagno and Cosimo Papi both a lap down at the moment, running through here in the early stages. They've both had lap 1 issues in this race, and of course that's going to make life even tougher the way that this one goes by, as they all funnel themselves onto the hanger straight. One more attempt they go through. Look at this though for Alon Day. Here comes Manuel Biancalilia trying to get the move sorted through in towards this Stowe corner, and has he got the move sorted? Oh, you bet he does. That's wonderfully done there as he went on through. So Manuel Biancalilia back up into 12th. Luca D'Amelio will be next in terms of the battle. Yuri Kazdorp will get a drive-through penalty for his incident with Alessandro Ottaviani. That much we can tell you at this point in time. So that's going to be key for Yuri Kazdorp. His season is going from bad to worse with a drive-through penalty, as he will have to come in and serve that, and a 20-second stop and go for Ottaviani for the poor rejoin that he had earlier on in the race. So that's pretty much all of the bookkeeping from the opening couple of laps then that they've gone through. But look how close Yayovsky suddenly got to Risto Capit. He may actually be thinking of the race lead. Well, you won't if you slide like that through Brooklands corner. So Yayovsky will now start dropping a little bit back finalist in World's Fastest Gamer, presented by McLaren Shadows Project, and ultimately he finds himself now second, looking at Risto Capit in front with a good opportunity. Ericsson currently cannot close up to them. They are walking away from him here, as he will now have to fight for best of the rest, it seems, in third position. But dare you say rule one of teammates, don't hit your teammate? That might become a factor if things do go the wrong direction for a few drivers here in this race here today. Battles are going on up and down your field at the moment, and every driver knows that they have got to be on it at this stage and make sure that their position is well fought for at this stage. Still, Hoyer and Jordan and Viglione going at it here for 14th, 15th, 16th. Wide's gone Hoyer, and that could put him in trouble here if he's got to have a slowdown penalty or anything like that. He cut the course hard, and I think he just about covers himself through this section as they close down on Biancalillia just in front. So you've got to be careful about pushing the track limits around here. The stewards are keeping an eye on that as they go on through. Viglione's going defensive. Biancalillia, is going defensive here into the Vale corner and through Club. Okie dokie, that's okay. But here comes Hoyer coming out to the final turn to try and get the move done at turn number 1, using the better run down on the inside. No reason to fight it. Up and under for up and unders in towards turn 3. Here's the second lot of up and unders, and it's going to try it here around the outside is Biancalillia. All of the craft needing to be used there. Viglione is going to try and get down the inside of Dennis Jordan. Runs out of road, and Birikov has caught almost Viglione napping there. And has he got it on the exit? No, side by side they stay as they go on through. Right to the side of the track goes Michi Hoyer. This is brilliant battling here in the middle of the pack as they go through. Viglione's going to hold his place, will try to run the outside. Hoyer's got the move done, but can Birikov find anything? No, around the outside. So Viglione just about holding. Alon Day has walked away from Hoyer though after all of this and has caught the back of Luca D'Amelio. Here comes the move then, side by side in front of them here for 11th place, and Alon Day down the inside. Going to be fought all the way. Contact tyre to tyre as they went on through, but ultimately you must yield, Luca. It is Alon's day at this point in time as the position was changed out on track. In terms of the battles though, to the front and continuing on, still got these drivers third onto ninth. They're pretty much in that holding pattern at the moment, about half a second splits them every single time they go on through, from Ericsson to Briliak to Siebel to Simoncic to Donodan to Ramos to Mrozek at this moment in time. They all pretty much sit in a window, and at the moment it's the case of, well, who's the first to leave the windowsill and decide, right, I'm going to actually get some business done around this place. They know what they need to do. The pace though is even thanks to the toe, and nobody can catch Jesper Eriksson, who seemingly is 8/10 in front of Peter Briliak in the Williams outfit at the moment. Big battle though. Hoyer 3 wide, they're going to go, are they? Towards turn number 1. Biancalillia there with Jordan and Viglione. Viglione backed out of it. Jordan there is still on the outside, had to lift off slightly. And as they come in towards turn number 3, this is a huge scrap going on between them at the moment. Biancalillia gets the curb. Viglione around the outside, back down for the inside. Brilliant work. No, it's not brilliant work. Biancalillia gets the turn from Jordan, and Birikov runs into him as well. Biancalillia on the curb and out of the race. So a big hurt they go through. Stewards will have a look at that, and it was gearing up for an instant like that. No doubt about it at this moment. Yovsky, though, for the race lead, starts to close in 1/3 distance in the book now as they go through. 10 minutes already score completed, and Erhan Yovsky is now just playing the patience game, looking to work and prey on the tyres, which Risto Capit has a tendency to use more than others when rFactor 2 as they head themselves through the next right-hander. It's also on behind between Briliak and Siebel. Keep this in mind as Siebel now looks behind at Jurne Simoncic, trying to find a way through. Moves galore looking like they're going to happen here on to the hanger straight. Not going to happen for the race lead, but look at this. Siebel having to defend here from Simoncic. You can see the bright regal blue trying to chase down in terms of the helmet there for Jurne Simoncic, but not quite enough just yet to try and get that one close. The draft of Peter Briliak even, it was just enough as Donodan sits and waits with Ramos and Mrozek there in 8th and 9th position at the moment in this race. And people will now be starting to wonder, well, what is going to need to happen? What is going to be done? And actually there has been a big incident because Yuri Kazdorp is out of the race and out massively here with Manuel Biancalina. Haven't quite caught exactly what's happened between them, but it looks like Kazdorp's had a massive smash up with Biancalina with a huge accident. Both drivers will now be classified as out of the race then. Ladies and gentlemen, their races are both done after everything that has all gone on. But still, though, it is these packs which are just starting to fragment ever so slightly, as there goes Porsche Milan around, and that's with Kirill Birikov. So both of them go around. That's down at turn 4 at the entry corner. So they go through 1 all right. They go through 2 all right. They're chasing down Paul August Lana here in this position. But on the brakes they go. Into the right they come along with 3. That's all nice and dandy. Does Birikov go for the lunge? Yes, Birikov does, and he gets it wrong. He just does not get it right. Milan cannot spot him coming, and ultimately 2 into 1. Well, that still makes 1, so that doesn't quite work out for the way that they want their race to be going. Look at Simoncic, though, all over Alex Stiebel, the ever underrated Alex Stiebel, trying to keep himself in range of Peter Briliak, but is starting to look like he's struggling ever so slightly. They're close at the front as well, still, remember, as they're moving on forward. Now drivers have got to wonder, am I going to be stuck here forever? Yes, I can save the tyres a little bit. Yes, I can save the fuel a little bit. But that's not the worry here in a race with no pit stop. It's all about gain the moves, gain the positions. Who's going to be best placed when it comes to the end of it right now? And a 1-2 at the moment is how it looks for Roman Grosjean's team, the R8G Esports outfit, and they are walking away with it. Look at the gap between Yovsky and Ericsson now. It's up over 3 seconds out on track, and 3 seconds are going to be so tough to claw back. And I don't think you can with half of the race remaining, unless Multi-21 or something of that ilk starts to happen, or they start playing around with a few things. But now it's all about concentration for those here at the top of the field. The mid-pack battle. Currently, Dennis Jordan holds on to the final point in 15th place. Visually only on 2 points. Hoyer gets 3 points for this. So Paul August Lana with work to do here. He's 3 seconds back and relying on an incident somewhere in the pack. Here's some moves, though, going on. Briliak having to defend from Alex Siebel, moving into Brooklyn's corner. So all of a sudden, it is Briliak now who's not looking so brilliant here at this moment, because Alex Siebel wants in. 1 second's been dropped, almost 2 seconds been dropped by Peter Briliak, and now Alex Siebel sees the chance coming up, maybe 4th place. I can maybe pick this one up because Peter Briliak does not have the pace. That's a poor exit, though. What a run by Simoncic. Here he comes, looking for the inside, turns to the outside. He's got the nose, he's got the whole position, and that is well done by Jurnej Simoncic up into 5th. Dornaden starts looking now, looking to harass, try and kick a man while he's down. Why don't you here, Alexander? Try and get the move done on Alex Siebel, and Siebel now will desperately need the draft to make this one happen. But Dornaden, hard to the inside, trying to find this move here at the halfway stage. Has he got the move sorted on the brakes? It's around the outside looking from Alex Siebel. Evolution trying to keep himself in best place. But at the moment, there's 2 looks down onto the lane. Is there? Dornaden is one of them. And there's Diego Ramos the other. Both of them coming down then onto the lane to make pit stops. Alon Day, Luis Felipe Capamagian, both there at the moment in their battles. And Capamagian cedes to Alon Day at this moment in time. So that's very, very telling. 2 drivers coming down in. No mandatory requirement to come down on the lane, but if the fuel numbers weren't there, and if you fueled it 15, not 30, maybe they're going and looking and saying, well, tyres might be a factor here for this one today. So this is going to be a long run through. Dornaden out and away. Dennis Jordan gets a drive-through penalty for his incident with Biancalina as they get themselves going. Dornaden comes out then in 16th place behind Dennis Jordan, Paul August Lana. So that puts him on 1 championship point at the moment when everything shuffles on out. But also, I think these drivers know what they need to do. They've got to be absolutely on it right now at this stage. So keep that in mind as they move on forward, as they look to try and have their battles. Diego Ramos now back down 11th position with Hoyer 12th and Viglione in 13th as things stands at the moment. Look how close it is, though, at the front still. And they'll be waiting. They'll be looking to try and make this as easy as possible for each other at the front. Kapit and Yovsky, 0.3 of a second at that last sector. Little wide there goes Risto Kapit. This is the chance, you know. Here comes the move. I wonder how hard this will be defended here at the moment. You can see how close Erhan's going to get. He's right up underneath the gearbox, waiting for the chance, and lifts out of it there. Decides, nope, not just yet. I'll just keep on playing mind games. I'll wait for the one chance. And that might have been it there with the slightly wide line that Capit took. But this is a waiting game. You can't wait forever, but this is still a waiting game. They've still got over half, or just under now, half of the race to go in terms of how this one's going to stack out on the 13th and 12th right now. Mishi Hoya under pressure. This is Giacchino Viglione. Gio looking for a move. Not yet. Here into the Vale corner and then into clubs as they go on through clubs. Well, plural, singular, club corner as they go on through. So into the pits comes Kirill Birikov then as he gets himself going through for a stop-and-go incident with Borja Milan. We saw that one earlier on, ladies and gentlemen. So Kirill Birikov then will go down in on the lane. He gets himself through and back out again he goes. And without really too many worries. So the question becomes, when does Dennis Jordan take his stop? He's got to take it soon. Otherwise, he might just run the ire of the stewards even further and may actually find himself disqualified, which would be a huge shame. Looking again, though, here towards near the front because Briliak has got mirrors full of Simoncic. Siebel suddenly is looking behind, seeing Davin Rojek's not gone a million miles away. He's still in the hunt at this moment in time, sat there in 7th position out there on the road. And this is going to be crucial for Davin Rojek's championship right now because he knows he's fighting at the moment for what, maybe top 10? Maybe he's looking up higher, top 5 in the championship, 6th and 7th. Well, they're going to be okay, but back-to-back 6th place is going to be key. Move done as Viglione trying to get the move back then on Dennis Jordan. He does get it. Contact. Oh, just about saving it there between those two. Go careful as you head out of cops. But Viglione holds on, but they've lost Mishi Hoya. Ramos has made progress back to D'Amelio and Capamagian. Capamagian now under pressure, and this is going to be pretty much plain sailing. To the inside goes one Mr. Luca D'Amelio. Diego Ramos sitting, waiting in the wings. Spaniard trying to get himself through. Classic Spaniard colours. He tries to get this one done, and he's going to look for the inside. Not quite there. Going to be defended every stage of the way, those that go through. And Diego Ramos has exited stage left down onto the lane. As of more drivers, Viglione down in. Dennis Jordan will take the drive-through penalty at this moment in time. In terms of that battle, D'Amelio does win against Capamagian as they go on through. So now questions starting to be asked at this moment in time. Briliak still holding his place over Simoncic. Mrozek still behind Alex Siebel. No changes in those positions, but likes Dennis Jordan in. This is promoting a lot of drivers up through the order. Jordan's going to come out again, and in fact, he is going to come out in 15th still all of a sudden. So how's that managed to happen? Borja Milan will move up to 14th. Dornaden now 13th, chasing down Paul August Lana, and this is going to be key here in terms of Dornaden's times. 1:57 out lap, nothing on the lap because it was invalidated that last time by. So we'll keep an eye out on the laps as they're moving on forward. But Jesper Eriksson, now look at the times, 50.6. Peter Briliak last time by. Jesper Eriksson 50.5, took another 10th away, but is not a million miles away. 1.7 seconds now, the gap between 3rd and 4th place. And look at Yoyoski, he was close. He was thinking of a move that time by at that sector. He's so good in the middle sector, but he's just not able to get that move sorted. I think he's waiting for these last 10 minutes, and those last 10 minutes are happening right about now. On for the 9th place, Capamagian and D'Amelio still going at it here. D'Amelio had the move done once. Simoncic has got the move done in front. Jerne Simoncic up to 4th. He's through on Peter Briliak down the hanger straight, and that was easy as you like from Jerne. You're not going to find many better moves than that. You can see he was a little bit further behind, needed to try and pull in and through the toe, and he decided, you know what, I've had enough, my tyres are good. Moves to the inside, and that is good from Simoncic. Up to 4th, and he's got work now to chase down Jesper Eriksson, who is in 3rd place in this race. The front two, though, still nose to tail at the moment. You can see the Macedon, the North Macedonian helmet now of what is Erhan Yayovski, and he just drops himself a long way back there as he went on through that section there, and that was not quite ideal in terms of what happened there. That's not part of the plan there. Maybe the internet not quite working for Hanyayoski there as he lagged back 0.6 of a second compared to Risto Capit, and all of a sudden Risto's thinking, oh, Christmas. Oh, you didn't need to give me a present like that. We've only been in the team together for about a month. So Risto Capit will be happy with that. He gets a bit of a gap, but he knows that that will be chased down over sector upon sector upon sector here in terms of the racing, but the pack still forms behind at the moment. Borja Milan, Dennis Jordan, Dornaden and Lana having their fights out on track. Alex Siebel trying to stay in a pretty strong position here with Peter Briliak just in front. It's close. It's quite close. It's not close enough, though, at this stage. They're going to have to wait for more laps to come along if they're going to see moves change. But look at this. Yuyovski right back on the rear thanks to a little bit of traffic there. Diego Ramos out of the race. Cacamagno goes 2 laps down. And here looks one Erhan Yuyovski. Suddenly, the door is back open again. But again, it's a waiting game as they go on through. Not quite close enough to see the changes of position that are required. Car almost off that. That was off in the background. That was Dornaden pushing a bit too hard. They're dropping back in time, but not position. So that's key. Alexander Dornaden's pushing hard here to try and gain more positions. He only gets 3 points for 13th place. And he would be wanting more, and he's not going to be getting them here at this stage. 4 retirements, Diego Ramos, Yuri Kazdorp, and, 3 retirements, and Manuel Biancalilla retirements so far in this race at the moment. But it is Piccadilly Circus around 7th, 6th, 5th, and 4th, and 3rd position right now. Traffic for Jesper Eriksson has to get out of the way, does so. And now all of a sudden, it's about where can you chase down the times. Every which way you look, it's about position. It's about one more here, one more there. My championship points here, my championship points there. Ottaviani's under pressure. Here comes Dean Vella looking for the move. Those two, remember, that poor rejoin that came along. More contact between them as they go through. Ottaviani trying to stay on the outside. Not going to happen. Dean Vella's got the move. Done and dusted on the inside through Stowe Corner. Well done there from Dean. He gets himself 20th place thanks to that overtake that was just done. But it's close and it's closing. The gap now 9/10 between Simoncic and Eriksson. Eriksson is starting to fade here. It's getting into a bit of trouble. Erhan Yuyovski's just sitting back there at half a second back of his teammate here. Risto Capit for Roman Grosjean, the R8G Esports outfit. They're 1-2 at the moment, exactly what they need. And at the moment, it's a case to be made of who puts themselves best place at the moment. Briliak and Siebel and Mrozek, 5th, 6th, 7th, having their scrap at the moment. Every place matters in this championship. Remember, for those fighting in the top 6 places, there's 5 points for every position that you get. 5 points means so much. For someone like Davin Mrozek sitting there in 7th position, 7th position might not be the best place in the world. There's only 1 point he'll gain if he gets by Alex Siebel, which would be 9 points up to 10 points overall. So keep that in mind. We got ourselves 6 minutes on the clock and under at this stage in time. 3 laps, potentially 4, as they go on through towards this next lap they're going through. Briliak slightly wide as he goes through that turn number 4, 3 into 4 now, out on track. And he's just starting to exercise those different lines, trying to open out and break away as much as possible. Make sure that life's tough on the exit for Alex Siebel to get anywhere near enough to make a move. It's not going to happen on the straight, but he's getting out to the racing line now. He's defending into corners as Briliak. He does not feel comfortable in 5th place. He's been looking backwards all day. He's been the cork in the proverbial bottle of this race, and it has been close every single stage. Capit and Yuyovski again close to the head to Cop's corner, but again, waiting game resumes between those. Eriksson and Simoncic now close, but there's a different line looking from Siebel, trying to get in the mirrors, using all of the road. Here looks Mrozek as well in 7th place, trying to get himself back into the action. Is this going to be a chance here towards Maggott's corner? No. Waiting game once again. Briliak gets some time to just take a breather, have some respite, and Alon Day will deal with his lap traffic just behind a little bit as well, as Borja Milan holding his own with Dennis Jordan and Alex Siebel off, out, Alex Siebel out. What happened there? Going through Maggots and Beckett, looked like he was having a few of the technical issues going through. He blinks, and does he just go and blink off? Yes, he does. So that is Alex Siebel with the internet deciding he is not going to finish this race. A huge shame for him. He'll be classified as a non-finisher, not by his own accord around here out on track. So that's something just to look at for the moment here. Top 2 still as they are. 3rd and 4th still as they are. Briliak, huge gap now of 1.3 seconds to Davin Mrozek. Can be safe in the final few laps of this race. D'Amelio not safe for 9th though. Kapmajan there in 8th. Hoyer is there in 10th. They've got a good fight going on here as they head towards turn 3, the village corner. Oh, huge slide from D'Amelio. Has he cooked it too deep? Yes, he has. And Hoyer's going to try the long way. Has that worked? No. Going to have to try the Wellington now. Good run here through the left of turn 5. On you go. And now you probably need a grand run to get this one working. D'Amelio hard to the defend. Italy versus Germany. Michi Hoyer trying to go to the outside to get this one done. Has he got the move sorted? No, he does not. Well defended. Luca D'Amelio through that corner. Well played between those two. Questions now start to become, is Erhan just going to fall into position, full 10 points back in the championship? Or is he wanting to make this one tied here after 2 rounds? Wanting to give himself that move that's going to get it done on Risto Capit. He's got the pace, he's shown it. He's pulled back from 9/10s back in. So, question becomes, who's got it at this moment in time, at this stage, at this time of year, here in what is May? And in comes Capit, he's short! Capit short on fuel, Yayovsky leads. Risto Capit has been run out of fuel by Erhan Yayovsky. Whoa, that's going to change a whole heap of things right now. Risto's underfueled the car, and all of a sudden, points for the championship start falling by the wayside. There's a vehicle down on pit lane that has run himself into trouble. Who is that? It's 1 lap down. It's Kirill Birakov who's down in trouble. Now, where does Capit come out? He's coming out of the pit lane now. He only needed a splash. He only needed a dash. But now he's down in 6th place. And Paul August Lana is now finding himself down onto the lane. So Capit now back to 6th. Mrozek 5th. Briliak is 4th. Simončić now up to 3rd. Sees Jesper Eriksson in front and thinks, 2nd, my lucky day! Going on with 2 laps to go. All of a sudden, questions on the fuel. Questions for everybody who's been out front. Questions for Jesper Eriksson, who has been on his own for the majority of this race. Is Jerne waiting for the number just to hit 0? Risto Capit there in 6th place is finding himself 2 seconds back of Davin Mrozek. So now it's a long day home. Alon Day 7th, Kapmajan 8th, D'Amelio 9th, Michi Hoyer finds himself in 10th place, and on the back of this is Alexander Dorniden in 11th place, who could pick up 4 spots late if people are splashing and dashing side by side for 2nd though. Look at this from Jerne Simončić, trying to get this one done and couldn't do it at Kops then on Jesper Eriksson. Now he knows, I've got to start going for broke here. There's a minute and a bit to go after this, so there will be 1 more lap of racing here at Silverstone, and Jerne Simončić wants 2nd to really get damage limitation working for the championship. He has not been the best at all. Erhan Yayovsky has himself a lap to go, and he will not dive down onto the lane. He will take that final lap overall, so that's going to be crucial for the way this is run. Simončić looking now, hoping he's going to get there, and out of fuel goes Eriksson, who was running on his own. Out of fuel goes Eriksson, and into the pit. Simončić promotes to 2nd, Briliak promotes to 3rd, Mrozek up to 4th, Capit recovers back 5th. But Jesper Eriksson, oh, you have to feel from a lap short from disaster. And here is some disaster. D'Amelio trying to get the move done here with Michi Hoyer. Contact. Oh, no. Oh, no. It looks straight like Hamilton and Vettel. It's not Hamilton and Vettel. Vettel and Verstappen. But ultimately they save it. And Dorniden picks up both of them. Up to 8th place as Kapmajan and Jordan will come into pit, as well as Borja Milan here trying to go through and make some stops. So that's going to be crucial to keep in mind. There's been drivers behind as well. Off has gone Lana, off has gone Viglione as well. But we're on the last lap of this race, and it is a walk away for Erhan Yayovsky at the moment. 10 seconds almost clear of Jerne Simončić over this half an hour. Briliak is there in 3rd, Mrozek in 4th. Who is going to sputter over the line? It won't be Capit, it won't be Eriksson. Alexander Dorniden holding on to 7th, and Michi Hoyer now up into 8th. Is Alon Day out? Alon Day's out of fuel. Alon Day out of fuel then, here in the final stages. Now you've got to watch the gauges. Everybody's running out. Everyone's filled up a little bit too little. And Yayovsky's been fine. He's been running behind Risto Capit all race long. He should have enough in the tank to get himself home. Simončić has been playing draft all day. Briliak's been playing draft all day. So's Mrozek. There's Risto Capit desperately trying to claw back in. He's a little bit too far down the road to make that one happen, but drivers everywhere are running out of fuel. But Erhan Yayovsky hasn't. Erhan Yayovsky's played the cards to perfection. Erhan Yayovsky's only got Club Corner. Erhan Yayovsky's only got this now. Only Erhan Yayovsky can pick up a dominating race win like this. Championship in his hands. He takes the lead overall. Win at Silverstone. Simončić will come home for second. Briliak will make the push home for third place overall as they cross the line. Mrožek fourth, just ahead of Risto Capit, who led the majority of the race, and once again the race victory has slipped out of his grasp, although he did pick it up later through the stewards in the opening race. There's Jesper Eriksson, Alexander Dornaden and co, and now it's a who's who for the lower positions. Dennis Jordan's going to pick up a top 10 here as he comes over the line. The likes of Jason Muscat trying to chase down Luis Felipe Capamagian, who had to come in splash and dash. Tokarev is going to lose a place here. This is Borja Milan trying to go around the outside. Has Milan got enough? Oh, you bet he does around the outside. That's comfortable, making that move. Great work there. And Capamagian's out of fuel. He's underfueled it on the underfuel. He's going to have to straight line something here. And oh, that's cheeky from Lana. He's going to try and run it through on the lane and get himself home over and dry by taking the quick route home and trying to use the pit limiter maybe. So that's going to be interesting. So driver's going to be dropping hard positions here. Capamagian crawling to a line, and they can see no front wing even there for Viglione as he'll crawl over the line. I think it's going to be close between them. Has he stolen it? Yes, he has. So that's a big steal come the end, and in fact, you can see Capamagian is going to be classed as a lap down, actually, for everything that's gone on. So, classified results. Erhan Yayoski wins 31 minutes, 19 seconds. He wins by 10.6 over Jurnej Simončić in a fuel-safe race, with Peter Briliak there in third. Davin Mrožek gets fourth, with Risto Capit having to stop 2 from the line to get himself home in fifth. Jesper Eriksson 1 from the line in 6th overall. Alexander Dornaden 7th. He had to stop very early at 15 minutes in. Michi Hoyer gets 8th, with Luca D'Amelio 9th, and Dennis Jordan in 10th. There's Jason Muscat 11th, Borja Milan 12th, Tokarev 13th, and Viglione in 14th position. Then you got Dean Vella and Alessandro Ottaviani. Alon Day runs out of fuel. He'll get 17th. With Mateusz Stumpf 18th. Cosimo Papi 19th, a lap down. Lana a lap down. Capamagian a lap down. Birikov, Magno. And then the retirements include the likes of Alex Siebel and so many others who have run into troubles, which does include Yuri Kazdorp in for issues as well. So, a very entertaining race that we have just seen, and hopefully we are going to see exactly the same in a week's time, because we head ourselves over to Imola. The Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari is going to be the next battleground that all of these drivers are going to be finding, and hopefully at some point in time we may actually get some driver interviews here. But what a fantastic race it was for everybody who was trying to make it happen. The likes of Risto Capit, though, will be kicking himself at what's happened here at Silverstone. The chances have gone begging once again because his teammate decided to play the selfish game. No, I'm going to sit behind and wait. I'm going to sit behind and wait for your fuel to run out. And you know what? It worked. And what a strategy it was that came into play that got itself over and done with. Of course, we are going to thank, of course, those partners who have worked so well with us. ASR Formula on the mod. You got the likes of GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster who have been on the prizes for the AM category championship. And, of course, to Fiverr, who are hashtag making it work at the moment here with us today. But some brilliant work. Erhan Yayoski joins us in the commentary box with a race win. Erhan, I believe the plan was run your teammate out of fuel. It worked.
No, this win wouldn't have been possible without Risto, I think, because he had a different strategy. He was committed to a pit stop. I wasn't, so I had to stay behind him the whole race just to save enough to make my race without a stop.
How close was it then on the fuel margins as you got to the line? You had a commanding victory come the end. You were able to pull away in the early stages with teammate for Roman Grosjean's RHG. You feel like maybe that this race was all about, trying to mitigate any outside factor, control the race from minute 1 and have the result come the end at minute 30?
I had like a liter more than enough just to make till the end. As we saw, the guys behind were on a same strategy as me, so I think this was the right call for me.
Well, the right call for you has given you the lead in the championship with back-to-back podiums in this series. So you now start to look over at Imola, a track which has a lot of elevation changes, probably one of the most brilliant driving tracks that you can find out there in the world. How does Imola change in terms of mentality compared to Silverstone?
I think it's gonna be a similar track to Adria, because there are some tight, twisty sections like the chicane, and a very long straight, the start-finish straight, so plenty of passing opportunities.
Well, plenty of opportunities available, but the opportunity to take the lead in the championship sometimes is few and far between. Before we let you go, Erhan, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank for those who've been working with you at RHG.
Shout out to all the sponsors that are supporting RHG esports, and yeah.
Erhan Jajoski then with a big race victory overall. Jerne Simoncic comes home with second position. And Jerne, just to look at qualifying very quickly, because it was not the qualifying result I think you were looking for. You were looking to try and come out with about a minute 45 to go and then realise, oh wait, I'm out of time on the clock to put more laps in. How tough is a 10-minute qualifying with a very long lap?
It's not tough. I mean, there is enough time, but the main issue is full grid with various levels of preparation or experience with the sim. And also the biggest issue for me was 40 work hours in this week as quarantine ended here. So it's so hard to do full-time job and then a high-level race like every day, yesterday, today, and then tomorrow, and impossible to prepare for everything. So I was just not feeling the stability. I slided all over the place and somehow squeezed in a lap with just enough for P7. A bit of disappointment, but in the end, the race went a bit better.
The race certainly did get a bit better, Jerne, especially for your team Burst Esports, because it was all about strategy here today. One stop versus no stop. The fuel was always going to be marginal at a track which is very high fuel usage. Not many places where you're going to be running that first year. Sometimes it's very rare that you're going to find a second one as well. So in terms of how you had to manage that race, there was a lot of sitting and waiting for you and picking off drivers one at a time, surely.
Yeah, the best strategy was to sit behind someone who is on one-stop strategy. Erhan had that luxury. I kind of had to, but the guys in front of me, some were not on one-stop, some were, and the pace was less consistent, so I lost just too much time, and I knew it as soon as I crossed the line in qualifying that the P1 is not possible in the race unless both RAG guys go for the pit stop. So yeah, just sitting behind drivers and saving fuel, and in the end it was easy.
Well, in terms of what happened coming out of Adria, you had a 5-second penalty that cost you a 20-point swing to Risto Capit. You managed to mitigate factors here today with a second-place finish overall. So in terms of looking to try and get this season into a gear, back on track, you know you've got the pace. It's 2 podiums on the track. Now you're looking at Imola. Is this going to be a case where it's all about just stringing result after result together for you?
To be honest, I am too busy to look 1 week forward, so I have no idea how Imola will be. Of course, we will be trying to win it. Thinking about how Silverstone went, it should be a bit easier to prepare. But I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, for sure we will. I hope we will be a better challenge for RAG guys.
Well, before we let you go, Jerne, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Yeah, thanks a lot and shout out to Burst sponsors, especially today. I would like to say thanks to Rio Toro for their great gaming products. the headphones and high quality mechanic keyboards, really good stuff.
Jene Simoncic picks up second. It would be third, though, for Peter Briliak, part of the Williams esports setup. And I just want to talk about that first and foremost, Peter, because it's really a stable that has burst onto the scene, knows exactly what it wants out of sim racing, has a lot of fingers in different simulators, different pies, and in terms of being brought into that stable and having the faith brought in front of you by the sort of caliber of drivers that are already there, just how much of a moment was it for you over the last few weeks to be selected to go to Williams Esports?
Hi, yeah. It's a really nice privilege, and I didn't really know. I was just kind of driving, doing my own thing, and the call came up, and we talked about it, and yes, I accepted it. And it was, I'm really excited for all the events we'll do together.
In terms of moving from Adria over to this race, you had not necessarily the greatest showing in Adria, finding yourself a little bit off the pace, but the pace seemingly returned for qualifying, for the racing that was going on. A case of a fuel save race was pretty much the order of the day for everyone. So in terms of the way that you managed the race, you constructed the race, you got the result that you wanted, surely you can't really take too many negatives from it, and you can take a lot of positives heading to Imola.
Yeah, that's right. In the first race, I was quite disappointed because I thought I prepared well enough, but both my setup and my driving was a bit off. So I just tried to say what I could. And for this one, it's not like I prepared more, but I kind of gauged where to put the car more and what to try to unlock in the car, and also try to do some little bits to improve my driving, and it looks like it worked. And yeah, I was a bit surprised with P3 on the grid, and then it was really tricky to manage the train behind because I kind of knew that the RAG guys were too quick for me in the race from warm-up and practice. So I tried to save where I could, looking at the gaps, who has what exit in which corner. And somehow it worked out in the end. It's a shame I couldn't get the Edney. But yeah, I think P3, I can't complain about that too much.
Can't complain about the podium. Big gains in the championship. After 2 rounds, you're starting to make that progress. Do you feel like more results like this is going to keep spearheading results, and maybe, just maybe, there's going to be that break in form from R8G victories that are coming in via however many means that come along? Do you feel like you're in the best place now to start challenging for those results and starting to make race victories potentially a possibility?
I think so, yeah. If I keep getting closer like this with every race, of course you can't really never know if you're close or not, or on the pace, but I think these are encouraging signs, yeah.
Well, before we let you go, Peter, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Oh, I haven't really done my homework yet, so I'm gonna just shout out to all the sponsors that are with Williams Esports and are gonna be supporting me throughout my time there. Yeah.
Well, there's Peter Briliak, who obviously needs to get the memo from Williams Esports at the moment. 3rd place overall from him, but that brings proceedings to a close from 2 very interesting races in the 2nd round of both championships. The halfway stage will come along with Imola, the 3rd round of 6. So make sure you check that out in 1 week's time here with World Pro Racing, be it on YouTube, on Facebook Live, on Twitch, on ESR 24/7 Esports Network, or on ESPN. This, of course, is a fantastic series. It is the Griiip G1 Virtual Racing 2020 season, and of course it is presented by Fiverr, hashtag making it work, in association with GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster, who have been getting all the prizes done for the AM category and the ASR formula for the mod created overall. It's going to be a tall order for drivers. They look 1 week's time towards racing action, but a massive thanks to those who have been a part of this broadcast with us here today, to the likes of Adrian Fagayo, our Chief Race Director, Chief Race Steward George Muscat, of course on the cameras Justin Mifsud, and I of course have been Jake Sperry. A big win for Erhan Yayovsky. He played his cards right. He knew that no stops would be quicker, but he had to save, and he did exactly that. He saved until the sun came down, and he manages to pick up the championship lead. But Imola is a tough circuit, all about elevation change, all about negotiating different styles of corners, turning and braking. It has absolutely everything in a track. The only place you can find it is with World Pro Racing. We'll see you in a week. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.